What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It's time for us to talk about WrestleMania 34, all the hits, all the misses, everything from top to bottom that we liked and we didn't like, and all the other things that are in between. And there is a lot to talk about for this. 7 hours, lots of positives, and lots of things we're going to say, what the fuck? So just to warn everybody ahead of time, if you are somebody who is looking for a podcast that runs down this event and says how it sucks, you're going to hear some of those things. But if you're somebody who also goes, I don't want to hear a bunch of people bitching and complaining, you're going to hear a lot of positive things as well. So keep that in mind. Don't take the first segment or two as like that's the whole entire thing. Just putting it out there because, you know, it's a lot to cover. And man, we're going to have some differing opinions here, I'm sure, too. And the people that are going to be having those differing opinions, well, I'm your host as always. I'm Tony Mango. And we've got Robert DeFelice.
Hello.
Callum Wiggins.
Hey.
Drew White.
Taking it slow now.
And Braden Mayhew.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Ooh, I don't even know how to answer that after this. I know some of us have been a little bit more positive, and some of us have been a little bit more negative and stuff. And, before we get started into the pre-show stuff, real quick, I want to just say, if you have to give me one word to sum up WrestleMania this year, what are you going to go with? Drew, what do you think?
Awesome.
Callum?
Confusing.
Braden?
Solid.
Robert?
Confusing as all hell. Fucking confusing.
I think I'm not even going to go with a word. I'm going to go...
like the home improvement noise?
Yeah.
I think that was just added to the dictionary, so I think you're fine.
Oh, good. Yeah. Very cromulent word. Man, let's just start with the pre-show. And we had 2 hours of pre-show stuff to talk about. But before we do the matches, I want to talk about all the extraneous things. We had people like Renee Young and David Otunga, Booker T, JBL, Peter Rosenberg, Sam Roberts having a little bit of a glitch there with the end of that segment just kind of staring forward and not really knowing what to do. Maybe he was getting the same cue as the person that should have ended that Charlie Caruso and Candice LeRae thing on a Takeover's pre-show.
Say.
Maybe, I don't know.
Can we just talk about how he looked weird as fuck as well?
Does.
Yeah, I know he always does, but come on. Can we get like someone else to do this kind of stuff? Like, hey, I know this is some kind of big name radio personality who does stuff on, XM radio, something that we don't really use anymore because we have podcasts and stuff. But come on, WWE. It's like that with like Pete Rosenberg too. Can we get some like other people in here? Come on.
Leave skinny Richard Simmons alone, okay?
Well, besides the matches, was there anything that stood out to anybody about positives or negatives when it comes to the pre-show? We didn't have a social media lounge that I can think of, right?
We didn't have any backstage segments to that the whole night, I feel like.
Just video packages and John Cena sitting in the crowd,
had the
right?
arena full.
Oh, that was a really good thing. The first match had a full arena.
That is true. It's better than like the past couple years when we had like the Ryback Kalisto situation.
Mm-hmm. Or the Miz at SummerSlam and all that.
Yeah. Didn't they have issues at WrestleMania last year too?
Yeah. Neville and Aries were the first match, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was certainly not filled. Another reason why Neville's probably pissed about it. But this time around, they learned their lesson, and by the time we had that first match was the 5th annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and not only was the crowd packed, they just decided, nobody needs an entrance. Let's just have everybody in the ring. Did you guys like that, or were you kind of against it like I was? Because I didn't really like that all that much.
It saves time, but it really made everybody feel not important.
I think, I don't know, there's a couple of ways to do it because they did it differently for the women's match, where when the women's match, you had one person come out with their entrance music, had everyone else come out, and then they had a couple more come out with their entrance music. But I recall with like the past couple Memorial Battle Royals for the Andre side, or at least for the guys side, where they already had people in the ring, and then like they did the last couple with the entrances. So I don't get what they were doing with like all this experimentations with this entrance stuff tonight.
Well, between the two, the one being like some get the entrances, some don't, let's mishmash and stuff. I still would add, like, I'd rather have the whole, a couple people come out and then 1 or 2 or 3 big names come out. But I almost, and sounds so weird for me to say, I almost kind of wish it was Kid Rock singing the theme and people were coming out to it. Because that at least would have been like, oh, we're accomplishing that, and, everybody's coming out to that. But having everybody in the ring made it seem inconsequential, kind of. And immediately I was like, wait, who's in the ring? Is this person in there? Is that person in there? And that just was distracting for me, too.
Also, I recall something that happened right before they started to do the introduction for this match, where they were introducing the panel, the commentators for the match, and it was Byron Saxton, JR, and then my bad, the King.
Jim Ross and Lawler.
Yeah. Oh, Jim Ross. Yeah. And with Jim Ross, I forget what Jim Ross said, but he said something really fucking weird, like, weird. He was just like, "Let's go," or something like that right off the bat. And then the King was just like, "Hey guys," and it was just so fucking weird.
He did say something weird like during the match too, or something though, where he just said like one word out of nowhere, and it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was something like he would have just been like speed or something like that, and it would have been like, wait, what? What are you talking about, JR? Like, that was a little strange. We had a lot of people that had been announced for this match that obviously it was like, let's throw them in there because they had nothing else to do, like a Primo or the Ascension weren't actually even announced for it and stuff. But then we had a couple people that weren't in the mix. Elias was announced ahead of time. No Elias in the match. No Samoa Joe. So for 2 years in a row, Samoa Joe has not had a WrestleMania at all. A little bit strange. No surprises when it comes to somebody like a Big Cass returning. But we did get Bray Wyatt returning. Who
R-Truth returned, Tony. What about R-Truth?
It's R-Truth. We get the Bray Wyatt return. He helps Matt Hardy win by last eliminating Mojo Rawley and Baron Corbin. So our final 3 for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal were Mojo, Baron Corbin, and Matt Hardy with a babyface Bray Wyatt helping him. The fuck?
It was weird as shit, but there was something charming about it.
Can I talk about my my huge pet peeve from the match, which is, as usual, Dolph Ziggler. And
here we go.
You mean you didn't like the idea that he was, oh my god, he's hanging over the edge for the 19th time?
He spent like half the match on the apron. And it's like, okay, dude, we know you're in the match. You don't have to be taking up the camera every single few seconds because you're hanging from it, and the crowd, the camera has to look at you because, oh my god, you might be going over this time. Oh no, you're not. You're just waiting for your spot where you go over, having done absolutely fuck all in the entire match. You absolute waste of space. Why don't you just retire, you piece of absolute shit?
Can I just say something to counter that? Because I know I like Ziggler. I don't hate him, but he's pretty good for the most part. I just feel like that they underutilize him. I feel like I felt bad for him a little bit that he was stuck on the first match on the pre-show, but I will say that I was fine with what they did with him, only because this match is. I really never enjoy this match. It's okay, but we already get the Royal Rumble, and now we're getting another one next month or later this month. So I'm kind of tired of this Battle Royal all the time thing already. So the fact that they kind of just focus on that instead of all the boring stuff of a bunch of people just punching each other and attempting to throw each other over the ropes, I was fine with this. It was better than usual.
Did anybody else notice that Kane pretty much stayed in one corner the entire time?
Yes, the back left corner or back right
corner.
Back
right, yeah.
And Kane's the kind of guy who needs an entrance, by the way. He's somebody who half his shtick is his entrance, and him not having one really devalues the character.
I'm trying to think of who else was in this match. The Revival were in it. They didn't really do anything. Gallows and Anderson didn't do anything.
Just need to say, it's just a bunch of fucking geeks that nobody cares about. Shell match.
Cal, you need to stop it with your hate and your Dolph Ziggler hate. Ziggler is a great competitor. All right.
It was just a load of people that nobody really cares about in a match, which was designed that you just didn't actually have to care about it.
We were talking about how
it was a better battle royal than I was expecting. Like out of the two battle royals, this was definitely the better one. And we'll get to the other one later. But it just like the fact that none of them got any entrances, the fact that everyone was getting eliminated without any real consequence or thought behind it. I mean,
Was
the ending
Apollo
was,
in this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember him getting tossed out. Who tossed him out? Do you remember?
It doesn't matter, but I saw him hit the floor and I was happy. So
I think it was the revival.
It might have been the revival. I mean, that was the type of thing too, where it was sort of like you have too many people in here. There's 29 people. I'm going to lose track of everybody at certain points, and like I don't remember seeing like R-Truth get eliminated. I don't remember a lot of the people at this point.
I remember Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, Shelton hanging in there for a little bit. I remember him getting out. I remember the Miz Taraj getting eliminated, but like Mike Kanellis, I don't remember him doing anything in there. Zack Ryder's elimination was pretty funny.
it was hilarious.
I recall Mike Kanellis' elimination only because JR mentioned about him going home to his wife. And I was like, oh, yep, that's true.
At least Mike Kanellis got to eliminate Primo, so he did something.
And good for him. You know, he worked hard to get himself back into shape to be at WrestleMania, so he got to do it. You know,
yeah. Good for him for working all of his life to eliminate Primo at WrestleMania on the first match of the pre-show. Good for him. Fuck
He's like, I got my WrestleMania moment. Hey, Mom, I did it.
He did better than John Cena tonight. Let's say that much.
Glad he feels glad he quit the drugs now.
One of the parts I actually really liked was the 10 and delete little face-off thing. It was kind of fun.
Cool. It was interesting. The delete tension.
The delete tension. Huh?
That one sunk.
Well, what does everybody think about the idea that Bray Wyatt is a babyface now, yet he's still just Bray Wyatt, it seems?
I'm annoyed that he's still Bray Wyatt, but we saw this whole tag team thing coming. I just hope they do my idea of Matt Hardy throwing the trophy into the Lake of Reincarnation, trying to get Andre the Giant back to life.
Down for it.
That's all I want.
We'll see what happens. I'm interested, but we'll see what they do with it. I doubt that Bray Wyatt is just going to stay as Bray Wyatt unless they have no intention on him staying with them for longer than like a few weeks and then he turns on him. So we'll see.
Dolph Ziggler should have won.
I will say, with all the time they focused on Dolph Ziggler, that would be the only thing I would have done differently, is just have him win.
I don't know. I mean, as much as I like Dolph Ziggler, when I saw the field of people that were in this, I was kind of looking around and I was just going like, I really don't care if anybody wins in particular. Even Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, but we don't care because this match doesn't fucking mean anything.
And that goes back to what you were saying on the prediction show, Tony. Like, they had to make this match mean something, and again, they failed to do so.
Yeah, this year proves this match is probably never going to mean anything ever. Because look at the people that we've had win. We had Cesaro, who was a mid-carder that everybody thought, oh, okay, now he's going to become a main eventer. Nope. Then we had Big Show, which was like, oh, I get it. Andre's quote-unquote son won. Okay. Then we had Baron Corbin, which at first was like, oh, okay, we got an NXT guy coming in here. Which, by the way, no NXT people on that in the Battle Royal.
Oh, that's a funny thing, Tony. Matt Hardy was in all white, right? And the first time I noticed him, he was draped over the rope, so all I saw was the puffy kind of afro hair and all white gear, and I was like, oh, No Way Jose's in the match.
There was a different part in the night where I thought No Way Jose was popping up. But that was another thing that was just a little like, all right, we're not going to give anything to anybody like that. And then last year we gave it to Mojo Rawley, and that didn't go anywhere. And now we're giving it to Matt Hardy, and it kind of just seems like maybe they gave him the win because they were like, well, we want to do something with you, but we don't really know what. Just give him the Battle Royal. And, the 6th annual next year, who cares? It's not going to matter. Give it to fucking Goldust. Whatever. Any other thoughts you guys had for this?
Just unfortunate that it's a waste of a match.
I mean, I don't think the match itself was wasted just due to the fact that you have the Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt union now. Even though the trophy doesn't mean anything, at least the match has probably some consequences that will carry forward beyond WrestleMania.
Maybe. Thankfully, our second match was, I think, considerably better. I think we probably are all going to agree with that one, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
That was the Cruiserweight Championship match. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali, or what you could have thought if you were just looking at the entrances, Black Panther versus Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Listen, Ali's entrance was fucking cool. I liked the little light wind tunnel thing he had coming out of his hand. I thought that was cool. I liked
It didn't look as cool after he got past the fog, though.
No, it did not.
And it was just sort of, look at this thing on my hand. Doo-doo-doo-doo. That kind of thing. Which, by the way, lasers, man. Tonight,
Yeah, they were really experimenting with lasers.
yeah, the theme for tonight was like, we got lasers, let's throw them everywhere. You know,
They look pretty cool for most of the show.
it's like, hey Vince, we got this new laser effect. Is there anybody you want us to use it on? Everybody. Well, we can't really use it for everybody. Everybody. Undertaker, John Cena, who fucking cares? That kind of thing. But this match kicked some ass. The group of people that were all watching it in the basement, I was the only one that watches 205 Live, so these people were like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is that? By the end of the night, they were going, oh shit, oh damn, oh fuck, that was awesome, oh that's pretty cool, that's what, you know, like that. Yet none of them are still going to watch 205 Live. So I don't know if that really did too much in the grand scheme of things, but I hope that it turned people more onto there. And I kind of can't imagine that anybody would be looking for anything other than this type of a match, you know? I thought it was
I'm going
solid.
to try to get better after watching this match because they did a really cool story of the heart and the soul, and they were really playing that story well. And unfortunately, I didn't get it because I don't watch 205 Live regularly, so I want to try to be better with that.
There's your New Year's resolution. Try to be better with that.
No, this is your April 9th resolution. Actually, good luck.
Your resolution.
Resolution.
Your New Year's resolution.
The New Year's.
Yeah, well, we get Cedric Alexander winning the title. I think it was a smart move. I was rooting for him. I would have been fine with Mustafa Ali in a different kind of scenario, but you put the two of them up against each other, and I like Cedric Alexander a little bit better, so...
Were you going to call him Salad?
I kind of was. Salad Alexander.
The Alexander win has been coming for a long time, so it's good that he finally gets his moment on a WrestleMania in a really good match as well. I don't know if I'd go as far as say it was great because there are a few other things. This is the sort of match you come to expect, and I think even some of the tournament matches that I'd seen in the build up to this were better than this match, but it was still like a really well told story to go along with the like athleticism that was on display as well.
Yeah, and you know, Cedric Alexander, you know, should thank Enzo more the most for everything that happened.
I still think he probably could have won that title from Enzo, but
Yeah, he was going to win it anyway.
Yeah, probably, but yeah, thank you for speeding the process up and making it easier.
I thought the one thing that was funny, I can't remember who it was, but somebody sitting around me was looking down at their phone, and when they looked up, they were like, geez, I've been looking down on my phone, and the first thing I look at when I turn my head up is that they just kill the one dude, because it was one of the things that happened with Cedric, where he was selling, where he was just kind of like, oh, I guess I'm dead now, like that kind of thing. I'm like, see, yeah, you're missing. People get killed every time on 205 Live. Like,
Yeah,
selling like crazy.
I don't remember the move that preceded it, but they zoomed in on his face, and I went, "Oh boy, that's a meme. That is a meme waiting to happen."
Well, was anybody rooting for Mustafa?
I was
disappointed.
I was a little disappointed. I think he had a cooler look, and I would have liked to have seen him do something with the championship, but maybe he will down the line.
Next in line after a heel. Maybe.
Who would be that heel that you want to see, Tony?
Well, I mean, if anybody's been following the current and future champions things, I usually wait until like Tuesday or so before I start putting my predictions and stuff. But as far as not a prediction goes, I think I'd like to go with TJP. I don't think it will be him.
I think he would be a fine person. I wouldn't be surprised if there may be a surprise person that comes up from NXT. Maybe they put him on 205 Live.
Like a Leo Rush or something like that?
Maybe. I'm not thinking of anyone in particular, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. I mean, since it's the after Mania. This is going to be that time.
Drew Gulak for a better 205 Live, please.
If he was still doing the PowerPoint presentation and stuff, definitely. But he's been not doing that anymore, so now he's not as fun.
And now he's Drew Blah. Log.
Now he's Gulak again. Any other thoughts on Cedric and Mustafa?
I thought it was funny watching Drake Maverick cry hard after he handed Alexander the title, just because I was thinking about his desperate plea to people to watch the pre-show.
Please watch it. Please don't leave.
There's a moment during this match where they were cutting to break for the YouTube watchers and those watching on the USA Network, and it didn't cut to, you still got to watch a match because you were watching on the network at the time, and it makes you it reminded me of how many times they told me throughout the pre-show and how many times at the bottom of the screen that they reminded me that it was free for new subscribers because it was like 1,000 times.
Yeah, that did get annoying.
So this is something that we might as well talk about here, but talking about cutting away to something that's annoying, that fucking page thing.
Yep.
God, told you I'd be bitching and complaining about it, and the reactions from everybody else was just like, ooh, oh, Paige, oh, this is sad. Gross.
Yeah, I mean, the Paige story is a very disappointing and sad story to me. I thought she was going to be a huge deal, and she just comes across like this underwhelming person. And I know we're going to talk about the commentary on the women's match in a second, but she just sounds awful.
She really does. She looks bad right now, and one of the most meme-worthy type of things that, as far as discussions went throughout the night, I think it was Chuck, was like, because I kept saying, like, my God, Paige looks so terrible and stuff, and he was like, all right, you got to pick. You have to fuck one of them. Paige or Ruby Riott. And by the time he started saying Riott, I was like, still Paige. But like, he's like, that's fucking terrible, dude. That's terrible.
The sad thing is she looks way better than she did a year ago. Like she's actually gotten healthier and looks better than she did, last year at this time. But yeah, she just is appearing so lost almost to me.
It's as if she added another 5 pounds in makeup instead.
Let me say that I thought it was the weirdest thing when they were like, hey, maybe next year. Yeah, maybe next year. It's like, what?
Thank you.
If she's retired, just say she's retired. If she's coming back, say something that says, hey, she's definitely coming back. This was just like awkward.
That was literally the saddest thing I've ever seen in the history of WrestleMania. Whereas Nicholas, someone who
we're not there.
I'm holding off on the Nicholas talk. We'll get to it.
But no, Paige's story is so sad from the standpoint of they just keep on bringing up how I can't fucking wrestle.
Well, the inaugural women's battle royal, even though we've already had one of them before, but they kind of just ignore that whole aspect. That has what we were talking about before, the weird entrance idea where it was like, here's Becky Lynch and the rest, except for Sasha Banks and it was like, wait, what the fuck's happening here? And can anybody understand why they necessarily did that without just flat out pinpointing that these people were more important to them?
Wasn't this in the USA Network as well?
That too.
It was, but it's still kind of strange.
Well, I'm just thinking that I was thinking that they might have put a commercial when all the other women were coming out. Just we saw it on the network because there were less breaks in the network version.
Oh, like they did like Becky, and then they went, all right, commercial break, and then by the time they came in, like, all right, we're continuing on with adding more people, like such as Sasha Banks. Like maybe they did that. Maybe that makes more sense. Yeah, it came off really awkward on the network though.
Yeah, definitely.
And right off the bat, from seeing the people walking to the ring, I was looking to myself, and I'm like, "Where's Billie Kay?"
I don't think she can wrestle.
Yeah, I'm thinking that she might be injured at the moment.
Really? Because
she
had the breast augmentation thing.
Yeah, but she didn't wrestle all through Access. Like, it's only really been Peyton Royce that's been wrestling, and she's just been managing her instead. So
It's
There
been
must be
that way
something up
since,
with her.
like May or August or so.
No,
That's
not that
strange.
long, but like definitely since the turn of the year. I haven't seen Billie Kay in a match yet.
Well, we had, for those who want to know, we had Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Dakota Kai, Dana Brooke, Kairi Sane, Kavita Devi, Lana, Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Natalya, Peyton Royce, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville, and Taynara Conchi.
Only
So
had 18 people.
we had, I don't know, did I count that much?
I was
It
counting
says
in my head.
20.
No, it did. Oh, okay. It just didn't, it felt like it had more people than that, but okay.
Well, we start off this with Carmella making an ass of herself and she gets thrown out of the ring. And that makes some sense because it's like, oh, here's Miss Money in the Bank. She's being all, like, I'm going to beat everybody, whatever, like that. But then out of nowhere, Natalya pushes Dana Brooke into the middle. And Dana Brooke says that's not nice. And everybody, whether they're a heel or babyface, beats the shit out of her. I was just like, wait, what? I mean, Dana Brooke is perhaps my least favorite woman on the roster as far as like in-ring talent. But I keep saying this. Poor fucking Dana. Man, like
Nope.
Like what?
Well,
Nope.
Tony, you're missing the most important part. They pushed her in the middle, and as she surveyed her surroundings, she started doing her job as the statistician of Titus Worldwide, and she started crunching the numbers. She literally like started looking at them like 1, 2, 3. Oh boy.
I just kind of don't understand it because to me, if I would have followed up with the Carmella thing and had another person do that, I probably would have singled out Kavita Devi, the biggest woman in the entire thing, a heel, something like that. Not just like everybody pick on Dana.
The reason why I love it is because, well, I don't love it. It's kind of sad if you think about it because Dana Brooke's boyfriend died last year, and then they do this huge video thing about the Royal Rumble about how like his like underwear for when he like competed in like body competitions, she like sewed it onto her like clothes or something like that, and they made this video about it and they posted it online, and she lasts like 5 seconds in that Royal fucking Rumble match. And then this happens. They just love shitting on her, and
Well,
it's
no,
kind
she
of
did
sad.
well for Royal Rumble. She didn't
I
do
thought she did
anything
terrible.
here.
I don't remember, to be honest.
She eliminated Kairi Sane. That's the only reason I remember.
Oh, well, I guess one elimination's better than like the 5-second bullshit I was just piling out. So okay.
Speaking
I was
of,
just so confused because it was just like, that makes sense when they all gang up on Big Show. Or when they all gang up on, like a Killian Dane or like even like Rusev when he was doing like a lot of stuff. It was like, he's not the biggest guy, but okay, he's dominant. You all gang up on John Cena. You all gang up on... Everybody would have ganged up on Nia Jax if she were in the match, like that type of thing. Like that makes sense. Dana Brooke is like, she hasn't won a match in, I don't know, 4 fucking years. So why is everybody ganging up on her? I just didn't get it. It has to be a rib. It has to be.
It is.
We had like a split between NXT and main roster
that
talent.
was so awkward.
Yeah, that was so strange.
Like they will turn on them and then they start saying, "We are NXT," and they start chant. Like it's not difficult to start an NXT chant, and yet they couldn't do it.
Listen, that was their NWO moment. And they blew it.
Like just it's so embarrassing watching them all just stand there going NXT, NXT, and nobody's responding to it.
Because, well, I'll tell you why. Except for Bianca Belair, Dakota Kai, and Peyton Royce, nobody knew who the Indian chick was. Nobody knew,
Well, see, the people watching in Daces, of course, I mentioned before, they don't watch NXT really for the most part. They don't watch 205 Live. They're pretty much like Raw and SmackDown, old school types. And I had to explain like everything for them. There was like, wait, who's the blonde one that looks like Renee Young a little bit? Like that kind of thing. And it was, oh wait, who's this, who's the girl with the braid? How long is her fucking hair? And I'm like, just watch out for when she starts using it. They're like, wait, what? And then the smack and they're like, oh shit, what the fuck? She does that? What the hell is going on here? And I think it was Dane was like, Kairi Sane, somebody who's finally younger than Bayley on the roster. They're like, if Bayley's 13, Kairi Sane looks 12 and stuff. I thought those were kind of some funny remarks because it gets you a different opinion of like just how people that are into wrestling but still on the outside can look at this. You know, somebody looks at like a Dakota Kai, and people like us, we might know Dakota Kai, but other people are like, is that like Bailey's sister? You know, or Kavita Devi be like, who's Jinder Mahal? Like, what's he doing here? Like, you know, like there's different remarks that have been like that throughout the whole night, and for instance, what the fuck was Mickie James wearing? It took me a while to realize that it was supposed to be like a Saints gear, kind of.
I didn't
That
put
looked.
that together.
I think she like tries to make it a point to look weird.
Well, I remember one time last year, she wore the Native American stuff, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
What? Why didn't you like that? I thought it was interesting.
I think that might have been a candidate for worst clothing of the year for me.
You are a hater, I guess.
No, he just doesn't like any clothing on Mickie James because he preferred that they weren't anything.
I can't disagree with this. Mickie is one of my favorites on the roster. Very underrated.
She did win the Sexiest Divas tournament once.
She did. She won the longer one, the one that lasted like
Exactly.
7 months. I'm fucking never doing that thing again.
Can
Especially now that I can't do it on YouTube and they'll just unmonetize everything.
Yeah, so Paige can say she won the fake one. Mickie James can talk about how she won the bad girl one, the real one.
Hey, she retweeted it at the time.
That's
Or I
cool.
essentially tweeted out to her and be like, hey, everybody agrees you're hot. And it was like, oh, thanks. This is great. Like that kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
Much better response than Jasmine Sinclair did.
Yeah.
I need to just get like this part out because I know obviously we're trying to go through this match bit by bit, but this match, like I remember you putting in the Mega Maniacs chat yesterday, Tony, about saying like, do we have any contenders for like worst match of the year yet? And then this match happened. This was awful from the like start with like the really awkward eliminations and stuff like that. Then the crappy like non NXT chanting. People were getting eliminated without any rhyme or reason. Like Becky Lynch got eliminated with absolutely no like fanfare. Like she got her own entrance and then she gets eliminated like nothing. Like she's just some random person that stumbled their way into the match. Like everything was so clunky. Like, for some reason, the Riot Squad decided to take over the entire thing, with Absolution getting eliminated. Like, they were absolutely nothing as well.
Oh yeah, that left Paige stumped on commentary, man.
And then it was all just like, it just seemed to be an entire backdrop to Bailey and Sasha Banks. Like, everything else to happen in the match just doesn't matter because this is the thing that people would get interested in. And then those two get together towards the end. It's like, oh my god, it's going to be like an epic confrontation. And then Bailey just throws her out.
Well, then that turned into a whole thing with Naomi is still there, and
why do they have to?
And
do this?
I really thought I saw her go over the top. That bothered me.
I didn't keep track of that. But what I got confused about was we had the previous Battle Royal where Matt Hardy won, and it took him about 10 seconds before they rang the bell, and then for this one, it looked like Bailey won, and they weren't ringing the bell, and I was just like, is somebody just not like paying attention? Is that why? And then it was like, oh, Naomi's still in there. Okay, well then Naomi better fucking win. So she won the Fallopian Tube trophy.
Did this Battle Royal need to have that stupid trope in it? Or did it really need to have the, oh my god, she was never eliminated? Like, who the fuck cares?
I will say that this match reminded me of what old pre-show matches used to be like, and specifically battle royals and pre-shows that would decide the #1 contender for like the U.S. Championship or something like that. It was just a blah match, but it was on the pre-show, so I couldn't be too mad.
For all this nonsense about the women's evolution, this match could have happened during the height of the Kelly era, and it would have fit right in. This match was so just underwhelming and dumb. And I gotta say, my favorite spot in the match, Becky Lynch, one of the 4 horsewomen, should be a major name on any brand. Spins, I keep forgetting her name, the Indian chick around, and says, You're wearing orange. That's my color. Nobody wears my color.
Hey, you know how Kalen, my bad, is not a huge fan of his boy Dolph Ziggler. Just take that with Becky Lynch and magnify that by like 1,000 now.
That you don't like Becky Lynch?
I kind of never did. I thought she was overrated as hell. But yeah, I kind of really don't like her now.
They
Is
just
that
made her
because
look like
orange
such
is
a
your color?
fool.
No, it's not. No, it's not a matter of that. It's a matter of this whole four horsewoman thing. She is easily, without a doubt, the Dean Ambrose of the group, and I'm kind of glad it was her. And I'm glad. I'm just being serious. Congrats. She got her one WWE championship. You know, like Dean. And yeah, we get to talk about how she's on the same part of him as the rest of them because of that, but they don't look at her as such, so I'm not going to look at her as such. So I'm tired of this four horsewoman thing. It's like the three horsewoman, and then there's Becky Lynch acting like she's the fourth one, like the redheaded stepchild, as you may say.
The
orange-headed stepchild. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, my bad. So yeah. So honestly, I'm fine with the way they treated her because this is how they've been treating her for like since she's been on, or actually since she was like Sasha Banks' friend in the Fatal 4-Way match on NXT Takeover that one time. So she's always been the fourth leftover. So why are we acting like she's any different now?
What do you think, Braden?
I only caught the tail end of this match, to be honest, and so what do you think of Naomi winning? Should that have been Bayley's moment? Was it just kind of random? Like, did anybody ever see her get eliminated? Like,
I'm actually glad that Naomi won instead of Bayley.
Oh, really? What's your reasoning for that?
It sounds kind of mean to say, but the fact that Bayley lost, I think, helps her more, I guess. Because if she would have won, I wouldn't have cared. And if she, like, when she lost like this, it kind of makes me go, well, maybe they'll do something a little bit different now. And Naomi, I think she went through a little bit of time where they weren't pushing her where they should have. And they gave her 2 title reigns, so it's kind of like, all right, well, that's good enough. But this sort of makes up for a little bit. Now, I kind of feel like Naomi doesn't need to necessarily win anything else anymore, and I'm good. So it's kind of weird.
That's kind of the way I saw it. It's like, this is an award that you can give to like one of the women that hasn't done a great, well, you don't really want to push as like a big deal going forward, but it's a nice little, you're like still pretty big, you're still like somebody that we may want to push every now and again, but this is kind of like your recompense for the fact that you're not going to be women's champion at any point in the next year.
I like the idea that it's the Lifetime Achievement Award where, oh yeah, we don't want you champion anymore, and we're gonna give you this as like, you know, hey, congrats, thank you for all the good things you've done for us. And it's like a severance package if you think of it.
That's what I was thinking, that maybe Natalya had a good shot.
Maybe next year.
They really could have pushed Dana Brooke with it if they wanted to, but no.
I think Santana had a shot if they put her in the match.
We're getting some feedback on somebody's end here, or I'm just hearing voices.
Yeah, I was hearing it too.
All right, we'll see what that's going on with. But at least the pre-show went out of the way, and that was the type of scenario where I didn't really like the pre-show all that much. I liked Cedric, and I liked some parts of it. You know, like the Bray Wyatt thing was like, all right, that's something. You know, but
I like the fans cosplaying in the crowd. There was like a Jimmy Corderas in the background, and like a 2002 Kurt Angle with the headgear.
A couple little points like that. Yeah, there was a creepy ass dude that looked like a member of the Wyatt family, just creeping behind Renee Young for a good portion of it. And I have some other people making asses of themselves. Actually, I think I might have written that down as. I might not have edited that out. That I had that written down as a positive on Bleacher Report. I think I might have kept it on there.
I will say all my bad things about this show was on the pre-show at least. So
all the bad things?
All the bad.
I don't have one that I can remember. I don't have one thing negative, the actual negative thing that made me be like, man, I like this slightly less now on the show.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like I could be let loose a little bit more now that we have somebody that can be the positive side of things.
No, that's fine. I'm glad that if you want to be very, if you want to do that, that's fine. I just personally think that there is not too much for, at least on my standpoint, I don't think there's too much to really not like from this, how the matches played out. But
so Drew's going to be very positive. Callum's going to be very negative. I'm going to be a little bit in the middle. What about you, Robert and Braden? Are you going to be like...
I'm dead in the middle. I'm going to be really positive in some points and really, really negative at others.
Yeah, I'll be positive for probably the first few matches of the show because I think the show had a strong start, but then somewhere it just kind of took a bit of a nosedive. So we'll get to that as it comes.
Well, the first match before the first match on the main card, we had Chloe and Hallie. Don't know who they are.
They were touted as the future of music, Tony.
The future of music?
The future of music.
And
they were handpicked. The Queen Bee, Beyonce. They're going to be the biggest thing ever. Damn it, Tony, do your research.
Were they twins?
I don't know.
I was going to say that, like, if they're apparently the future of music, then the future of music is going to be pretty much like the present of music and also the past.
So just meh.
Nah.
Just overall, if we take all the music from both sides, it's just a big old meh.
Hold on, we have to backtrack to the Battle Royal, the Andre, because you know what else got eliminated in the Andre Battle Royal? Aiden English's hair.
Okay, so that was something then. He had hair at the beginning of the night and didn't at the end?
Correct.
Okay. It wasn't just mind playing tricks on, whatever.
The reason I brought that up there was because they started chanting Rusev Day after the America the Beautiful.
So I'm really curious what the reports are about that, like why he would have...
Maybe that was the forfeit for losing the Battle Royal. You have to shave your head.
Oh, I could tell you why.
For being the first one?
Vince McMahon was watching the match and he's like, why do you have that hair? Shave your head right now. But I can't. I'm about to go back out in the night. And nobody watches the pre-show. Shave your head now. And so he did.
It's a great impression, by the way.
It's not on USA yet. Fucking do it.
So I'm not seeing any news about that or anything. I don't know. Anybody knows what's going on with that? Drop a comment.
I didn't even know that happened.
So we had our America the Beautiful, blah, blah, blah. That kind of a thing. And we go into, I thought we were going to get the Shinsuke Nakamura match first, but credit to WWE for pulling some unpredictable stuff here. The match placement of this card was all over the place from what I was expecting. But the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match coming up first, not a bad idea. The Miz goes in as champion, defending against Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. And here was the start of my official... wow, okay, I guess I'm wrong about this type of stuff for tonight, because, man, I got a lot wrong on my predictions. When it comes to the Battle Royals, that's up in the air. I went into this going, well, maybe Samoa Joe or Big Cass, and then maybe the Iconic Duo or Bayley. But, who knows, that kind of a thing. Main card, I'm sitting there going, I'm going to get all these fucking right. Seth Rollins wins the title.
Yeah,
I
got that right.
And I'm like, okay, well, it's not the craziest thing in the world. Finn Balor was the person I was expecting, but okay, he's a Grand Slam champion now. I'll get the rest of them right. Of course I didn't. But we've got the scenarios we were kind of talking about before. The Miz has a kid now. It seemed like it was a guarantee that he was going to drop that title because he's going to want to take a little bit of time off and stuff, and that makes perfect sense. But between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, it could have gone either way, and I thought it was going to go to Balor. Rollins, not a bad idea. What are you guys thinking about that?
I loved it. That's what I wanted from it. I think Seth Rollins is on a roll right now. I hope he stays on Raw with the Monday Night Rollins thing. And Balor can go to SmackDown and become a major star because he can fill a certain role that needs to be filled now.
And he's got a blue jacket.
Absolutely. Tony, do you watch Game of Thrones? I know you do the fanboy stuff, so that's why I pitched it to you. So I didn't understand Rollins' entrance. I guess it was a Game of Thrones themed deal.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I love the contacts though.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, with all the paint he had on. Oh wait, never mind.
Were you guys surprised that Finn Balor didn't come out as the demon?
Okay, let's get into that.
Yeah, I was actually, because I thought they saved that for like Big Four pay-per-views and stuff. Because we've seen him come out on pay-per-views before, and he hasn't necessarily been the demon. So I found it kind of odd for a big show like this. Like it's the WWE's biggest show of the year, and he doesn't do the demon gimmick. What was up with that?
I guess because he was losing.
Maybe it was,
Okay.
yeah, partly probably because he was going to lose, and also I think the inclusivity thing that they decided to go for instead, it kind of works in New Orleans because obviously that's kind of the spiritual home of Mardi Gras in the US. So to do the sort of like, yeah, we support the LGBT community stuff, I think that works in this environment.
That'd be cool. But if it's the first reason that they did it, put pay on him because he was gonna lose, then that's like the dumbest fucking reason ever. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna be full in character because I'm gonna lose. That's really
Well, not
fucking
necessarily.
dumb.
They've done their best to establish that Finn Balor and the Demon Balor are kind of two separate entities. He goes
Yeah,
demon.
but I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, but why if the demon character is the character he's supposed to fucking win in, then why isn't he in the demon character in the biggest fucking stage of them all?
Now,
Or just week to week.
I'm not defending the idea that he wasn't the demon. I'm just saying, trying to rationalize why they might not have done this. I think the statement was great. I don't know when the whole Balor Club is for everyone, LGBT community thing started. I like the movement. I thought it was a cool entrance. Great that they're starting to support that. They could have easily had that inclusiveness with the demon paint. You know what I mean?
Like rainbow paint.
I was thinking
that'd
that,
be cool.
but then maybe like the little fangs on the paint could be rainbow.
Well,
they
I
need
mean,
to get over this thing with the demon character where the paint can only be one thing, because we've seen him do like different things on the indie scenes where it wasn't just this one thing. Which is when they're stuck on it being if it's the demon thing, it really just stays as that, and they don't venture too off with the creativity of the paint. They need to get off that and just let him do whatever the fuck he wants with it.
So, I think what that was, he used to do in New Japan a thing like Rey Mysterio did at Manias, where he would be the popular superhero of the day. I think WWE went with a specific type of demon character so that if it didn't work and he was out of NXT quickly, it was no big deal. And if it took off, they could kind of trademark it and have it be their own character.
And it's easier for merchandise rights and stuff. You just do the
well.
one thing and that's it. You don't have to worry about this isn't the right type of paint on this job, and the figure could be like, oh, here's the demon one, and
that's fine. But John Cena has a different set of merchandise come out every 2 months. It seems like it's not
C-Nation is for everyone.
Not a rainbow shirt.
Yeah, with all the rainbow shirts, with all the shirts, it's a fucking rainbow.
And I mean this in all like with due respect and all that kind of stuff when I mention this, but I do want to bring it up. Is Finn Balor gay? Like, does anybody know anything about that? Because he kind of, and this sounds really mean, but he kind of gives off a vibe that he might be bi or something. Again, nothing wrong with it, no problem about it, whatever like that. But
when you look at Finn Balor, the second thing that comes up is Finn Balor wife.
Well, he's supposedly dating Kathy Kelly.
That's everybody on Google, Drew.
But just because he's dating Kathy Kelly doesn't mean that he's necessarily not bi or something like that. And
I think he's bisexual, especially with how hard he's pushing this, LGBT thing, and Balor Club is for everyone. I don't see an issue with it. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's great that they're doing it. It's weird that Finn Balor has chosen this wagon to hitch to. You know what I mean?
That's why I was kind of going, I wonder if this is kind of like a coming out type of thing or something.
Were you not in the Triple Threat chat on Facebook? Because I said all of these exact things.
I am, but I had too many things I was doing throughout the night. So for the same people with the Mega Maniacs, I didn't get a chance to check that out either throughout the night. But yeah, I kind of just was, when they came out and they were doing that, I was just sort of like, okay. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like it's going to be like, this changes my opinion and Finn Balor's not going to go to SmackDown or something. It's like, it doesn't change anything, but I kind of hope that if he is, that he feels comfortable enough to be able to come out like that, like Darren Young came out, Sonya Deville came out.
Sonya Deville, yeah. She had a rainbow-inspired gear as well.
Okay, we spent about half an hour talking about the entrances and Finn Balor's sexuality. Can we get to the match now?
The next match of the night was just kidding. The match was good, but I have to admit, I don't think that it was as good as I was hoping that it would be.
It was not, and I was sad about that.
No, I liked it. for an opening match, I thought it was fine. I think it was about like 14, 15 minutes. So I don't think that's not much to complain about. And with a show with as many matches as it is, yeah, you might say it was like 5 hours long. The main show was, it felt like, but I thought it was a good match. I think there was plenty of fun spots. The ending was great with all the finishing moves they did. They did the curb stomp, and they did the coup de grace. Interesting. They did the curb stomp with Finn Balor onto the Miz is laying there, and I just thought it was a very good match with a lot of great sequences throughout.
I think the match was it was a very serviceable opener. I thought the Miz might have proven to be a bit of like a lead weight for both Finn Balor and Seth Rollins because they're just more athletically talented than the Miz is. But the Miz was holding his own, and for like a good period of the match, he was presented as like the dominant force, which I wasn't really expecting. I'm expecting him to be a bit more like sneaking in and attacking the other two when they were in the middle of doing something. But no, he was in control for a lot of the actual match, and he was holding his own. He was definitely like on their level. It felt like he was on their level.
They were really pushing this idea that he was this new man now that he has a kid too. So it's especially since he went out there without the Miz Taraj.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
I think
Possible
that's
face turn coming up soon.
Because they pushed it on Raw and they really solidified it here. So I think that might be the route that they're going.
And it's so good to have the curb stomp bank as like an actual move.
However, Michael Cole always says the stomp. Tonight, Corey made a point to say.
Does that bother anybody else that he just calls it the stomp? Like, what's the matter about saying curb stomp?
I think
Is it just violent to say that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it might just bring up like feelings of like actual like hits and attacks outside of like just in like the street or something along those lines. So maybe that's why they avoid using the curb stomp now.
Well, you know how Vince is. He doesn't like when things have full names.
They should have just called it the curb instead.
Stomp.
Yeah, the curb.
Yeah.
He hit him with the curb and the roundabout and the cul-de-sac. Just like all that kind of names like that.
I don't know if it's just me, but anytime Rollins goes for the buckle bomb on anybody, I kind of shudder a bit.
Yeah, it's sort of just like, ooh, don't do it. Did that guy get hurt?
Okay,
No,
Miz
okay,
survived.
okay.
Good, we're good. He's okay.
And then, woo, buckle bomb, cool.
I do like the fact they keep trying to tease that thing with Finn Balor as well, because I don't think they're ever going to let him do it again. But just like they're constant, if they're ever having matches, they can just constantly go back and tease it, and people just go, "Oh my god, he's not actually going to do it, is he?"
I think he'll eventually do it, and it'll be like a big holy shit.
And then he gets injured again.
Then he gets injured
again. That's way too dangerous. I think anyway. There's just no give in the barricade. Not really. There's much give with the turnbuckle either, but
barricade's just straight up hit and then fall flat.
Mm. I agree with what Robert said. Even though I agreed with you, Tony, that I thought that Balor was going to win. Rollins has been on a really good roll recently, and I think he merits holding the Intercontinental Championship.
You could almost say it's part of his name.
I'm gonna ignore that one.
But just a really fun, decent opener, I thought. Like a good way to kick off the show, in my opinion.
And Rollins is now a Grand Slam champion, just like every other member of the Shield.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
I know. It's like it's it's just so obvious that like these three are like the three people that WWE have been trying to push, and for two of them, it's kind of worked.
So wait, when did Dean win the tag team title?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did he
won them with Seth Rollins?
He won them with Rollins, yeah.
Last year.
Right.
Oh shit! Yeah, that fucking
shoot,
whole.
Never
We
mind.
both forgot about that.
I totally forgot.
That was
they
kind
won
of the
that tag
beginning
team
of the whole Shield reunion angle. It started like in the summertime with Seth and Dean.
Yeah, it was like a really big important part of last year, and we both just completely forgot about it.
Yeah,
It wasn't just
They
Jason
had that
Jordan.
big feud with the Bar for a while.
fuck Kurt Angle, right? You know.
And I can't wait for Dean to come back and feud with Seth for the IC title.
The old IC title, the one that Mustafa Ali created.
So, how much longer before the Miz breaks Jericho's record for the most Intercontinental?
I give it 6 months. 6 months.
Gee, even if he goes to SmackDown?
I give it a little bit longer. I think he's going to go to SmackDown.
Because
Yeah,
Jericho's record is 8, right?
No, it's 10. 9.
9.
Is it?
9?
Yeah.
The Miz is at 8?
Yeah.
Miz is at 8.
Huh? All he needs is 2 more. I think he's sticking around that IC title around, like, that he's going to just keep doing that, though. But I mean, we got tomorrow night on Raw, the next night on SmackDown, and then leading up until Backlash. We don't know where things are going to go in the future, and maybe he gets back into the world title picture or something like that instead. Could possibly happen. But man, if you want to talk about something that you don't know what the future is going to hold in store, that next match, SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Charlotte Flair fucking beats the streak.
Can I go? Can I go here? Anyone gonna have a problem with that?
You could start. Yeah, go for it.
This was the worst fucking thing. Second worst thing on the show, only because of what we're gonna talk about later. My God, you want to talk about the bullshit surrounding Roman Reigns? Let's talk about this obsession with Charlotte needing to be the cornerstone and the crown jewel of the women's revolution.
It's as if I've been saying this for years as well.
She did not need to beat the streak. She did not need to beat the streak, especially in the way that she did it. Like,
I'm gonna disagree with you later, but I'm gonna let you finish first.
Like, I was looking at my phone when she hit the figure 8 because I figured Asuka's gonna find a way out of this. I look up and I realize, oh my God, it's over. And then all that just for them to go, Charlotte was ready for Asuka. Yeah.
I laughed so hard when she said that she was going to get to the mic, and I was like, tell me she's going to say Charlotte was ready for Asuka, just joking around. And then she does it, and I forget if it was Dace or whatever, was like, you said that because you were being an asshole, not because you were really predicting it. And I was like, yeah, well, if we don't count all the things of me being an asshole, we're never going to count anything. Like, I was joking, but like, that's fucking awesome. The Charlotte was ready for Asuka thing. It's so stupid that I just laughed my ass off.
On top of that, the match itself, it was all right. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but
I'll disagree with you on that one. But again, I'll let you finish.
I disagree too. I thought it was a really well done match.
I disagree as well.
Maybe I was just underwhelmed after the finish, but I was just
You just hate women, Rob.
You obviously think Charlotte is like a cockroach splotch on the wall or something like that. That's crazy.
I just think that this was too much. Like, if they were gonna do it like this, then they shouldn't have bothered with the weird buildup that they did. Because I pitched the question on the pre-show, and you guys kind of laughed at me, saying there's no way Asuka's gonna lose. But the way they did the buildup, Asuka was on Raw the whole time. Does that mean she just goes back to Raw as a loser? Like, what happens now?
I am so confused about what we're going to get in the future, because this has implications for Asuka being on Raw or SmackDown. It's got implications of the possible switch-ups of the roster members going forward. How do you keep Asuka, Charlotte, Nia, Ronda in the mix without mixing them up too much? And there could have gone a lot of different ways here, but my reaction to this, outside of just first off, wow, holy shit, I did not see this coming, all that other kind of stuff, was I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
Oddly
I'm kind
enough.
of fine with it as well. I'm kind of fine with it as well. It doesn't bug me as much as I thought it would. If anything bugs me, it's that she tapped out way too fucking fast, especially without Charlotte being, because they pointed out that Charlotte wasn't able to do like a full figure four because of her arm being injured from Asuka throughout the match. So she was only doing it with one arm instead of two, and she was like holding her one arm to the side, and she still tapped. So it's as if she tapped to not even a fully capable Charlotte. And I feel like that, that's kind of weak for someone who was undefeated for almost 1,000 days.
Do you guys think it would have been better if Asuka would have gotten pinned?
I wouldn't have cared any less.
I don't mind the submission. I would have hoped that there would have been a bit more damage done to Asuka's leg throughout the match. So it just felt like that wasn't an area of focus for Charlotte, and yet that was the thing that caused her to tap out. I mean, it shows how powerful the figure 8 is as a move, which is good. But again, it's like when you've seen a lot of things where, like say the Shayna Baszler Ember Moon match, like how long Ember Moon lasted in that submission hold, and then Asuka taps out after 30 seconds.
It's kind of funny how we've. Oh my bad! I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
I was just going to say along the lines of like it's like nobody thought to ever put Asuka in a submission hold. Because maybe she just taps out really easily. Just people never try to do it.
I also found it funny that they put both matches where both people would use variations of the figure four, like back to back as well. I thought that was kind of interesting.
And you'd
The Miz and Charlotte.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the Miz is a figure 4. Charlotte's like, fuck you, I can do an 8. Except mine's a 7 right now.
The Fatal 4-Way followed up, and it was like, I could do a 16. Fuck you. Yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go from here, and maybe we look back on this and we think that it was a mistake. Maybe not. I don't really love undefeated streaks too much because I kind of feel like once somebody loses their undefeated streak, they end up having to rebuild themselves a little bit. And I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do with Asuka, because Asuka now, she doesn't have that mystique.
I don't think it was kind of like the losing the streak, which is now you need to build Asuka back up. I mean, obviously, I really liked the match. I thought there was a lot of really solid wrestling between the two of them. And I'm not disappointed with Asuka losing the streak. I'm disappointed about the reaction to losing the streak. She didn't get violent. She didn't get angry. This thing was like so pressure. Like in the Mixed Match Challenge, she was shouting at the Miz all the time saying, "My streak, don't cost me my streak." And then she did it. And then she was like, I guess you were better than me. And that's it. She should have.
Kind of dumb.
It would have been perfect. I know this clearly isn't the way they want to do things at the moment, but it would have been perfect if Asuka had laid out Charlotte and Carmella had cashed in. That's the way it should have gone.
That's what I was thinking was going to happen.
But
when
clearly
they did that.
Clearly they had different plans later on, which would have been like far too similar to what was going to happen later on.
Which is what I was going to say. Spoiler alert, but the Royal Rumble winners should have switched places here, and I think Asuka should have turned on Charlotte, and Carmella could have cashed in, which I was surprised to see that she didn't. But just the overwhelming, like, hey, congratulations! Like, it felt like you beat a video game, you know? And the boss, like,
I was gonna say she won a fucking game show, and it was just kind of like, you did it, the price is right. Da 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 da. That kind of thing.
Asuka apparently was the final boss.
Maybe Asuka was the final boss.
So, can we just? I don't want to go talk about the entrances for too long, but you mentioned the laser stuff that they did earlier. They did something interesting with Asuka's entrance, and then they followed it up with the New Days later on, where they had like the 3D projections going.
Oh, they also did that in the Miz's entrance. The augmented reality was strong tonight.
Yes.
I really liked Charlotte's though.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Yes, and Charlotte. Oh yeah, I was digging the gold that they were doing with her tonight because she usually sticks with like the blue and like she'd use like variations of that. Really was digging the gold.
Does anybody know who the 3 men were?
No, but based on if they're doing the Triple H thing, like, so Charlotte was involved in Triple H's entrance, and now these 3 are involved in Charlotte's entrance, then one of them's going to be main eventing WrestleMania in a couple of years.
Yeah, that was a huge shock, and at this point, we had somebody win the Battle Royal that I wasn't expecting, somebody else win the Battle Royal that I wasn't expecting, Finn Balor doesn't win the IC title.
Oh, I was going to say,
then,
just quickly, obviously, don't want to cut you off mid-flow, but this was the match also where Cena got told by the referee.
Oh my god, yeah.
That the Undertaker. And
at the end of that.
Yeah, and I was so like pleased about this being called out quite early on because I was getting so pissed off with like them constantly cutting Cena during the middle of matches.
And I think Cena didn't like that either. I think Cena had even said it on the pre-show, and you could see in his facials on the card, he was like, I'm just a fan tonight. Focus on the ring. He kept kind of getting a little annoyed that they kept looking at him like, hey, look at John Cena in the crowd like a normal person.
Well, at least they weren't focusing on the woman that was sitting next to him who looked angry the whole time.
It's the quickest I've ever seen him move as well. Like just him sprinting up the ramp.
I thought it was awkward though.
Oh, it was.
Because it was like the referee comes out and it's like, oh, the Undertaker's here. And he's just like, I'm going to go fight him or something. And it was just like, wait, what? And Charlotte's like walking out and Asuka's in the ring standing there. And Asuka's all happy for some reason, even though she just lost. But it's like, is she happy because John Cena's going to go beat up the Undertaker? Like, this is kind of strange.
Well,
okay.
This is a continuing theme on SmackDown. The women's segments just regularly get interrupted by whatever the next thing is.
Well, Charlotte interrupted the Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon one this time around, so equal opportunity, I guess. That, of course, led into where we were like, all right, shit, Asuka lost, and John Cena's running to the back for an Undertaker thing or something. We need a little bit of a break. And they went, ha, there you go. We're going to give you a break. The United States title match. Nobody gives a shit about that, right? And we had the Fatal 4-Way was Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev, who was one of the most over people throughout the whole night. But he doesn't win because Jinder Mahal fucking wins again.
Called
Yes.
it.
Which means
I'm doing well so far.
Randy
And not
Orton
only
has
that,
had
but he
2
took
title
the
reigns.
pin.
Yeah, Rusev
That's right,
takes the
Rusev
pin
did
for
eat the
it.
pin.
Because fuck
And
the fans.
now that means that Randy Orton has dropped a title to Jinder Mahal twice in a year span.
This
Hey,
is what you have. You go ahead, Drew.
I was just gonna say he didn't get pinned this time. That's the only catalyst of all this is that nothing he has that going for him. So
I just gonna say, like, going into any sort of match now at Jinder Mahal where a title's at stake, you just can't bet against him because it's not a case of like you truly expect him to win or not. It's just that I can't handle the disappointment of him winning when I like expect him not to. So I just say, yeah, Jinder Mahal's going to win any match he's in because then I can't be disappointed because at least I get something right out of it. I get to enjoy the prediction of like the thought of being right, even though one of the worst wrestlers that's actually like somewhere in the mid card of SmackDown is now the United States champion. You get to see him ruin another championship.
Well, this is the title that he should have won originally.
Oh
The
yeah,
only
definitely.
difference is it's just not happening at the right time, I think.
This should have been
Uh,
Rusev's.
I still think it should have just been Orton. But if they would have gone with Rusev, at least it would have been like, all right, well, it makes sense. They're going with the guy that's getting cheered like crazy. But
Yeah,
Jinder Mahal winning, like, here's one of those moments throughout the night where I went, all right, the match, I have nothing to say about the match. And I really like Randy Orton. I really like Bobby Roode. And Mahal and Rusev have some of their positives and stuff like that. But this whole segment just kind of went like, crap. All right. There's something to write off. There's one of the low points. It's, you gave the title to the guy that I wanted the least to win, and the match wasn't worth it.
I knew he was winning. I felt like they want Jinder to be a big deal because of his physique, and I think they want to reward him for working so hard. I just don't like that guys like Randy and Bobby are getting swept under the rug because Callum, you can probably attest to this because you started watching in 2002. Randy should be a big deal. Randy should be like a top
I
of
think
the
it's a pretty
card
big
guy.
deal. I think it's a pretty big deal.
But
Like,
they regularly slip him into the mid card or the lower card if they feel like it. You know what I mean?
we
And I
can
don't
kind of
think
transition. Like he's not big enough that he can be main eventing every single show because fans resent him in that regard. Because even though I always considered Randy Orton like a decent wrestler, not just decent, but a very good wrestler, people find him boring and his matches boring, so they don't want to see him at the top for too long. Otherwise, they start to resent him.
also,
And even in this, I was just quickly say that even in this match where he had Rusev for the draping DDT and he was trying to get the crowd interested, and like people were just saying, "Nah, don't care."
I will
It's-
say what they do with Randy Orton, I'm actually fine with this like going back and forth between like him being in the mid card and him being at the top, and not just him being on the top, which they've done for like the past like 6 or so years now. I'm quite fine with that because I think it's okay to rotate your main stars out like that, even though they're big stars. Like, that's fine. Like, but I'd rather what they do with Orton than what they did with Cena, and then what they're doing now with Roman Reigns. So
we'll get
yeah,
there.
so there's 2 ways to go about it. And yeah, Orton was still a big star the entire time. Like, yeah, even throughout the past few years, yeah, he might have been chilling in the mid card with like Seth Rollins, but he's still fucking Randy Orton, and it's still a big deal, and he still has like the best finisher in the WWE.
I was going to say also for Rob, you mentioned like Bobby Roode getting swept under the rug. His entrance.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on. Thank you. Why the fuck didn't Bobby Roode have an extravagant entrance? What
I
the
don't know, but
hell?
that was another major disappointment.
That's something that
Literally-
NXT does better than WWE.
Yeah, literally his entire NXT shtick was, here's the takeover, what's Roode's entrance? How are you going to have this dude appear at WrestleMania and not have a major entrance? Very disappointing.
None of these guys had an entrance.
Not really. I mean, Roode's one was the worst one because it was like he had you expecting a really big deal and it's not great, but like, oh, at least he's still getting the glorious thing. And then it's cut off before he even gets to the ring.
And even if the glorious words would have appeared in the augmented reality, that would have been rad. But nothing.
It doesn't bug me too much that none of them, or some other wrestlers that the night didn't get extravagant themes, or because not everyone's going to. And the people that did, it was fine. And they actually didn't go too hard on those this year. Like there was a few, like they did with Shinsuke, they did with Triple H, but there weren't anything too extravagant this year for the most part.
Well, actually, does anybody have anything else to say about the Fatal 4-Way?
No. Well, Braden, what do you think?
Well, this is the beginning of matches where
it went down.
It was kind of like the first blah match of the night. Like I wasn't really expecting much out of it, and Jinder winning really didn't thrill me because there's still intent, I guess, on pushing him to a certain level, just based on how he looks. But yeah, it was a match, and it was there, and if it was a
match, yeah,
it was a match.
Pulled a Drew.
And, if it was to give the crowd a bit of a break from the first two matches, it certainly did a good job of that because I wasn't all that much into it, to be honest.
Well, we're talking about entrances, and I have a major bone to pick about this. Our next match was the mixed tag team match.
Mixed tag challenge. Mixed match.
Triple H just did the same fucking thing he did last year.
Yes, but this time Stephanie had her own motorcycle.
That's it? Like, is that just going to be Triple H's entrance now? As he very, very slowly coasts down the ramp on a motorcycle?
Was there any word on who the women were that were riding with him?
I don't know. Based off of previous NXT things, they're going to be main eventing. I'm just going to call that joke back.
They're probably was female Hell's Angels or something like that. Like
I thought this was lame as shit.
I like the green laser lights, though, in the ring.
At this point, I had gotten sick of the lasers.
We're talking about the entrance thing, like this point entrances. Kurt Angle comes out, and I'm so excited that it's Kurt Angle, like, hearing that music again at WrestleMania. And I'm like, he's supposed to be, like, really intense with the idea of, like, he's fighting Triple H, like one of his big rivals. And then he's just making people chant the "You Suck" thing. Like, he just points.
Yeah, he's got to stop doing that.
He looks like a goofball doing that stuff.
He should have been... like just kind of doing the like, all right, I'm focused, I'm getting pumped, I'm gonna beat some ass, that kind of thing.
Rousey comes out, and I hate to say something like this because it's like the worst thing to say, but like she's too much of a fan.
Yeah, she's very much just sort of like, wow, I can't believe that I'm here. This is great.
Yeah, I know. She's smiling. Like she should have a game face on immediately. She got it eventually when she was in the ring, and she looked really intense and really focused on it. But coming down to the ring, she's just all smiley and happy and stuff like that. It's like, okay, we get it. You're like really happy to be at WrestleMania, but you want to kick this person's ass. So, like, if this was a UFC fight, you wouldn't be like smiling and waving to the crowd. You'd be like staring daggers at like all the way down to the ring.
I'm gonna pick on something else that's like one of like the three things I'll pick on, and it's not even anything to do with like the entrance and what they did and like the smiling things. But I'm really fucking sick of her like clutching on Rowdy's Piper as if like that's like the only thing going for her.
I'm hoping that was a one-time thing. I'm hoping she switches to something new now.
Only because, you know, she's fucking Ronda Rousey. If this was like some no-name MMA person and he was alive, sure, but you were like the biggest name in MMA for like a year and a half stretch. The only person that comes with you during that time was like Conor McGregor, and you kicked everyone's ass during that time. It's just weird that like, oh yeah, not Ronda. It's just Rowdy Piper's her favorite, but she's terrible on the mic. And she's a fine wrestler, as it turns out. She's actually pretty good at this, and this was a fantastic match. But fuck, I am annoyed that they are shoving that down my throat.
I think she'll keep the theme.
That's fine. I like.
But she'll keep the rowdy Ronda Rousey. But I don't think she's going to keep that kind of the ring gear. I don't think she's going to keep. Which, for instance, like she had to keep adjusting that throughout the whole night. But damn, this was so much fucking better than I had anticipated.
Oh, yes, it was.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like,
awesome,
damn, you know, like I was really shocked, and I expected this. We talked about it before. I was like, she's awful at everything, and she's terrible. It's gonna suck. She kicked some ass. Like, Kurt Angle was worse than she was.
Yeah.
But I had mentioned this before. I knew once the bell rang, she was going to be fine. That's why I wanted them to, get to the part where she's in the ring already, because I knew that she would be good in the ring. But I think a lot of the credit goes to Triple H here.
I think if Triple H was the person to like putting together this match, he did like a fantastic job. Like it's kind of like his standard of thing.
Shout out to him also breaking down the gender barrier as well.
Yeah.
That helped the match out a lot. And it was bad as fuck. It was badass. No,
I don't really love the whole thing like that. To me, it's like, I get it. You did it before already. Do we need to do it 5 or 6 more times?
Yeah, it was it was during an actual match though. That they couldn't be like, no, we're going to disqualify you if you touch her.
I don't know. This was one of the parts of the night where I was like, that'd be kind of funny to just like subvert expectations and just have like he just fucking pedigrees her. He just goes what? I'm Triple H, like that kind of thing.
Ah, that's the only thing that was missing. If she took a pedigree, I think I might have like would lose my mind. That would be the only thing that would have made this night better. But yeah, it was fine. It was incredible actually. This was definitely probably the highlight of the night.
Yeah, Stephanie did better than I expected her to do too. Like she played her part really, really well.
And credit to her for not going immediately to the, oh my god, I fucked up, I'm scared. She took it to Ronda for a minute.
Yeah, and
a couple times of like locking in her arms to try to put up a fight instead of just like as soon as Ronda puts her in that it's tapping out time and whatever. Like that was good.
Yeah, for anyone that's like saying like, oh, why was Stephanie getting any sort of offense on Ronda? That doesn't look realistic. Shane McMahon was beating up both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn single-handedly at one point.
We'll
so
get to that.
Yeah.
Well,
so don't bring that up.
They're McMahons, damn it.
Shout out to the 2 part-timers, one person who wrestles once every 2 or 3 years, and the person who wrestled for the first time ever and is also going to be a part-timer most likely for putting on the best match of the night. Congrats.
Yeah,
Thank
round
you so
table.
much for that.
Match of the night, everybody? Match of the night?
I think just based on like reaction, this was the match that the crowd were into probably more than anything else.
Which
And
was
it's probably
surprised the shit out of me.
It's the one match that I'm definitely going to go back and like watch again from this entire show. Technically, it's not one of the best matches, but like just it felt big. It felt huge.
And the
It felt like the WrestleMania match of the night.
Yeah. It felt like a match that you would have at WrestleMania. It felt like a big moment. And honestly, I think that this might be a moment where we look back in like 15 to 20 minutes, 15 to 20 years from now. 15 to 20 years from now, I'm like, this was huge. I think it'll be one of those kind of moments.
Yeah, I really feel like bad that I don't have more to talk about with that because I kind of feel like I ragged on it so much, and now that they proved me wrong, I'm just kind of like, wow, great, awesome, thanks.
You did shit on it a lot, and I
did.
And I wasn't on too much for the past month, so I can't just really say I told you so for the sake of I told you so, because I didn't get to tell you guys at any point. But I'm really happy that this turned out as well as it did, because I really did not want Rousey to be a fucking bust. Because that would look so bad if she would. Do
I make a joke about bust?
Go for it. Do whatever you got to do. Whatever floats your boat.
I think everybody knows what I would make a joke about. But this and the fact that the Charlotte Flair situation happened, I think you have to rule out the idea of Ronda Rousey versus Asuka as that main event of WrestleMania next year. It has to be Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I kind of put Charlotte as like their number 1 female wrestler right now. So, yeah.
Ronda plus the horsewomen, Charlotte versus the horsewomen, plus the horsewomen. I thought it was going to happen this year. It didn't. Next year, it seems like now it has to happen next year. And now that Ronda Rousey proved herself and Charlotte is progressively getting even better and better and better, shit, that might be the best match to look forward to next year, which is kind of crazy.
That could be the main event next year. The legitimate.
I'm really anticipating that it will be.
Yeah,
I hope it is. I told you before, Tony. I did a 180 on Charlotte. I'm her biggest fan now, so this is actually really exciting. I don't hate her like I used to, so it's all good. She's like the best.
Also, Dana White was in the crowd.
I'm surprised. I know that why they didn't like cut to him for the sake of he's kind of a competition, but I was kind of expecting at some point to mention that he was there supporting Ronda, but oh well. UFC has had plenty of bad fucking media for the past week, it seems like, so it's probably better that they didn't.
Also, I'm sure Stephanie and Hunter's kids are gonna make fun of their father for getting beat up by a girl while they were sitting in the front row.
Nah, I would hope not. I hope it'd be like, hey, this is fake as fuck, so shut up.
You better raise the kid.
Also, he didn't get beaten up by a girl. He got beaten up by a trained MMA fighter that could probably legitimately kick anybody's arse in that match anyway.
He also won a brown medal in the Olympics.
A brown medal?
Thought it was funny that...
Did I say brown? Brown.
It sounded like you said a brown medal.
Bronze, my bad.
One of the brown ones, That's a really shitty
brown,
one. It's actually got chocolate on the inside.
Ooh, if I had a chocolate medal, I'd eat it.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do with it.
I thought it was funny that Shane acknowledged their kids and they didn't.
Brother heels.
And they were losing.
That's true.
Unfortunately, they followed this up with another bathroom break, essentially, which was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match. The Usos, the New Day, the Bludgeon Brothers. And I went into this going, man, the Usos and the New Day have really great matches. This should be really fun. It wasn't.
I disagree. I actually enjoyed it. The crowd fucking ruined it.
I don't think that there was any substance to it, actually. I think that it was the three teams. They didn't have enough time, I think. And they were clearly booked as filler.
This was supposed to be a squash, and I was fine with the fact that it was a squash. They was supposed to make the Bulgin Brothers, or whatever the fuck their name is, or how you say it. It doesn't matter. I'm really tired right now, so it doesn't matter.
The Bulging Brothers.
The Bulging and the Banner Brothers.
Harper and Rowan come out with giant boners or something.
They were obviously building this team up. They've been doing it for a while. They did it last month with just them destroying them, so I'm not too disappointed. And the offense that the Usos and the two moves that Kofi Kingston did, it was fine.
No.
Yeah.
We're not really talking about this match before talking about midgets with pancakes.
I'm sorry.
What was the New Day's entrance?
You said it. Little people with pancakes.
But they were doing the worm. Big E was looking like a unicorn. They were extra tonight, people.
Did anybody make this joke? Because I usually can't listen to the commentary because everybody else is talking and stuff. But if they did, I didn't hear it. Did anybody call them a short stack?
Yeah, I saw it in the Mega Maniacs.
I called them the point-sized pancake purveyors.
Yeah, I just called them the mini pancakes.
Silver dollar pancakes or something.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the short stack stuff. I don't understand it, but hey, it's kind of like the Lollipop Guild, I guess, or the Oompa Loompas.
In many ways, this match was kind of the complete reverse of the other one, because in terms of the actual the quality of the match, it was very crisp. All the moves were very good. It was short. It was fast paced. They were getting a lot of stuff into a confined space. Whereas the previous one, it was a little bit clunky here and there, and not all the wrestling was as sound as it could be. But that one had complete crowd investment, and this one was just dead. It was just a complete juxtaposition between the previpe match.
But again, because they were just so exhausted from the Ronda thing.
I just think they just didn't care.
Yeah. That would be my one complaint about anything that was on the main show, is that the crowd at certain spots could not care less, and it just happened to me be at some points where, boy, if they actually cared, this would be an incredibly good moment. And if they cared even just a tiny bit that these guys won, I think that it would have helped the match a lot, and I think it would have helped solidify these two as a force like other dominant teams have been in the WWE.
I just think that it's kind of weird that my favorite part of the whole thing was the little Green Ranger shout out at the beginning of that.
Of course it would be. Why wouldn't it be?
It's shouldn't be the best part of just bum 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 ba-da-da. I was like, Green Ranger, cool.
Yeah,
I was like, match.
Shout out to Xavier's afro too.
Bring back the old Consequences Creed.
Yeah.
Kind of
You know,
so
it
to
was a
speak.
cool thing because after 10 years for the Usos, they finally got on the Mania main card. After 5 years for Harper and Rowan, they finally got a match on Mania. So, you know, it was a nice little thing.
Meh.
And it accomplished what it set out to that I didn't think they were going to actually go through with. They put the titles on the Bludgeon Brothers.
I think this is one of those things we're going to look back at a couple months and we're not going to necessarily remember that the Bludgeon Brothers won at WrestleMania because it doesn't really matter, but it'll just be like, all right, what did they do with the Bludgeon Brothers as tag champs? Like, going forward matters more than what happened here. But I thought it was disappointing. This was one of my low points. I think it could have been a lot better. Then we had a weird situation here.
Was this
John Cena comes out,
Okay.
and the bell rings, and then the referees come out and basically say, JK, lights go out, Elias comes out.
Okay, so what were all of your reactions to Elias coming out to this?
I cheered. I thought it was great.
I was on the floor dying.
I thought, okay, we're going to drag this out all night.
I laughed. It was great.
At this moment, I was hoping that the Undertaker thing was a bit just so Braun Strowman chooses John Cena in the crowd later. That would
Wow. That would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, but you know, instead we got Undertaker squashing John Cena like the little bitch he is. Ooh.
Well, they do this whole thing with Elias, and he starts talking some trash, and he does that thing, and it just kind of ends with John Cena beating him up, and that, I think, already was disappointing, because I really wanted Elias to have a little bit more of a focal point. And I also, admittedly, I'm disappointed that we didn't get the Jeff Jarrett guitar smash. I really kind of wanted that to happen.
Fuck Jeff Jarrett.
And I know that that's like, some people will be like, well, they never advertised that, and you're just writing something, and you're disappointed that your booking scenario didn't turn out. Yeah. Like, what's so fucking bad about that, you know? You go into a movie, or you go into a TV show, or you go into a wrestling event with certain things you want to see, and if they don't do it, then yeah, you could be disappointed. Like, fuck you, you know what I mean? I did like the idea that Elias came out with the Undertaker tease, because that was funny. But I really kind of don't like the idea that this is what all the whole Undertaker thing turned out to be. They have the lightning strike the hat and the gear. He comes out and he squashes John Cena. This was all for that. I'm glad it was a match, and I'm glad we saw Undertaker, but I don't even feel like we saw John Cena versus Undertaker.
We didn't.
If they do certain things going forward, I will be more accepting of how all this played out. And I think, and Caleb mentioned something about it as well. He mentioned about they doing a rematch next year in one of the chats. So I really think if they bring the Undertaker back for like a small stint, I think this would be fine. Like, you can't just have the Undertaker destroy John Cena like this and not bring him back to some extent. So I'm curious of what they do with him going forward.
I'd be fine if I don't see Undertaker again, because obviously I think he's obviously limited in what he can do. I mean, that had to be the reason why the match was so short. They kind of booked themselves into a situation where they kind of needed to have this be on the show because they spent so much time building it up. But then you build it up just for a 2-minute squash. I didn't really understand that. I guess it was just to give the fans the Undertaker, and they did that. So it is what it is.
To me, if he couldn't do more, it wouldn't have been as short. I mean, my bad. If he couldn't have done anything, they wouldn't have done the match. So the fact that he could do stuff to me seems like he did that. The fact that he could do things, that it's fine that he wrestles. If he couldn't, then they wouldn't give it to him.
I thought he looked pretty decent.
Yeah, he looked great too. Compared to last year, he looks better.
Yeah.
But he was just doing all his just old stuff, the stuff that he's done a million times before.
That's fine. Daniel Bryan did the same thing, and everyone was cheering as if it was like the biggest fucking deal ever.
I'm not going like against it, but I'm just saying, like, if there's anything that Undertaker can do, it's those moves. So he doesn't need to be as like tip top shape as maybe he needs to be to have an extended match with Cena. But like Drew said, this result has to be that there's got to be a rematch down the line somewhere, whether it's at SummerSlam or Survivor Series or the next year's WrestleMania. There has to be a rematch, and I think there's going to be a championship on the line as well.
So I don't know if they were building towards a rematch with these two, but I think they've been teasing Taker doing one last full run since like Survivor Series of 2 years ago when he said he was coming back full time. And I think if they didn't have any faith in Taker doing some kind of a run, they just wouldn't have done this, especially the way that they did. My thing is, well, where do you go with John now? He called the guy out, and then the guy actually shows up, and he just looked completely scared and punked out entirely. And it was
You took the words out of my mouth.
I was going to just mention that, the idea of like Cena, when the match actually happens and Undertaker's in the ring, Cena looks terrified. It's like, oh my God, I didn't actually think you were going to turn up all this time. I just like, it's like he was actually shocked that Undertaker was there.
You know what it reminds me of? Jericho in '98 calling out Goldberg, and he's making fun of Goldberg, and then Goldberg kind of shows up and just runs right through him, and Jericho doesn't know what to do. That's what it looked like, and John Cena in 2018 is nowhere so much far above what Jericho was in '98. I just don't know why they went here with this program.
I kind of just don't know what to make of it. Like, I can't argue with the idea that this was cool because it was. You know, Undertaker's my second favorite of all time, and if they wouldn't have had Undertaker come out, I would have been like, wow, what the fuck did they set this all up for? So I like that, but I don't feel like I got anything. Like, I feel like I got something with no substance to it. And I guess almost the same as for those who follow, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, walking out of Iron Man 2, where I was like, okay, that was something, but I don't know what it was. And this was like, you set it up, you don't have a match really, and then you just kind of decide, like, you're going to do this Elias thing, and then there is a match, but it's a squash match, and now, if they do a rematch, John Cena should lose the rematch, and if they don't do a rematch, I feel like they didn't really have a match, and if they would have done it the year that they wanted to do it with the Shane McMahon thing, I think it would have been an actual match, and then I would have cared more. I also think that this would have mattered more if the streak would have been on the line. I also kind of go, well, does this mean The Undertaker is back full time? Does it mean that this is his last match? If it's his last match, that's underwhelming. If it isn't, then how is he going to hang around and do other stuff? Who's he going to fight? Because, you know, what are they going to do? Undertaker versus Finn Balor? I really kind of don't want to see it. Undertaker versus Seth Rollins? Meh, I don't really care. You know, whatever. Undertaker versus Braun? Well, they're both baby faces. I don't want to necessarily see that. And it's a weird kind of situation. And part of me is sort of thinking, well, you know what? Maybe next year we get John Cena versus Undertaker in a career versus career match.
You know, that's what I was thinking. And Callum already threw out, I'm so bad at this. Callum already threw out that the idea that of is potentially him picking up the title at some point. This could be for a title. Who else would it be better for him to beat than the Undertaker to break the record for the most titles? Who else? What better person would it be for him to beat?
It's kind of like the
Roman?
big guy. Yeah, Roman would be the only other choice, but
Or Brock Lesnar after losing the title in the way he did.
But I just like, again, just going on the lines of like, what's next for Cena? Like, he spoke about the fact that building up to this match at WrestleMania, he lost to Roman Reigns at No Mercy. He lost at Survivor Series. He didn't win the Royal Rumble, didn't win his other two opportunities to get into a title match at WrestleMania. And then he just got lost. He lost to The Undertaker in under 3 minutes. Like, why should he ever fight for a world championship again? You have to build him back up again. It's like the weirdest situation. Like, Cena needs to win a lot, which you wouldn't have obviously been saying like years and years ago. But Cena needs to win every match that he has between now and WrestleMania to even have like a sniff of being in a world championship level.
I think we're gonna get Hollywood Cena.
I think Cena's tried way too hard to please the vocal part of the audience. It's like, oh, we hate you and go away. And he's been doing this thing where he just keeps getting his ass kicked, I think, to try to appease that part of the crowd, but it's really hindering whatever major star power he has left.
Remember when he used to win every match?
And it's been quite a few years since that happened.
Yeah, it's been a while.
06 to 2009 type of thing.
Not
I
even
think
that.
it
Like
stopped
in the
with the Rock match.
The first one or
Maybe,
the
yeah.
second one?
The
Or
first
the one that he lost, yeah.
I mean, the second one. I guess after the second one, he won the title, and then he won.
because then he lost to Bryan, and then it was like, okay, he's not.
Well, he took time off after that, and he came back and won. As soon as he got back, he won the World Heavyweight Championship.
Let's talk about the time where he lost to The Rock the first time, and he said, like, after that, I had like the worst year I had in my entire career. You know, the year that he won the Royal Rumble and everything for the second time and all that stuff. Like, this is now the worst year he's ever had.
The only way this match would have been worse if there was some like stipulation where he couldn't like challenge for anything going forward. That would have been the only way this night could have gone worse for him.
So, do you think we see him going forward, or do you think he'll show up tomorrow just to say I got embarrassed and then leave again?
Well, I could definitely see tomorrow night he comes out and he says, "Look, I called out the Undertaker. We had a WrestleMania moment. I need to take a little bit of time off and recalibrate and see what I can do, but I will be back and I will fight whatever." And then I think he gets laid out by somebody.
In other words, I need to go take time off to like not wrestle and not have to do anything and go film movies because it's way easier and I make just as much money, if not more. You guys have fun doing the hard stuff. I'll just show up and take a pin in a few months.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I'll be back in like SummerSlam time to beat whoever the flavor of the month is, and then start my road to redemption back to facing the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Well, that is going to be a really interesting story to follow, and tomorrow night we should get at least a little bit of information, but maybe not. And I don't know what I'm going to think going forward. We'll see.
So, what did you think about Michael Cole being like, "Oh, this is the Undertaker trying to make things right because New Orleans was where he lost everything, so he's back to make everything right."
That's fine. They brought it up with Brock Lesnar too about like how this is where he like started this unbeatable path of like him beating the streak and all that shit as well. So I'm fine that they kept on bringing up the New Orleans stuff and how its place in WrestleMania's history is very important.
And I've got
I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah, I've kind of got to a stage where I just don't listen to commentary anymore. So like that sort of stuff just doesn't make any sort of impression on me.
Speaking of commentary, shout out to Corey Graves doing 7 hours of commentary tonight.
He got to miss the Cruiserweight match.
I think he wasn't there for the first Battle Royal as well.
Yeah.
Real quick thing to mention here. We had the Hall of Fame parade. Was Kid Rock on there?
No.
I don't know.
I don't remember seeing him.
He wasn't there tonight at all.
Does anyone have the scoops? What was up with him?
I don't know. I thought it was a little strange.
He's
I
like,
thought that
he's
maybe I
slamming
just
down a
didn't
crowd.
see it or something like that. Like it was one of those things where it was like I wasn't paying too much attention, so you know.
What if Kid Rock just did like Kid Rock shit and just like got too fucked up?
Maybe. I don't know. Part of me was thinking that was just like I missed out on it. Part of me was thinking that maybe he was going to do some kind of musical thing, but thankfully we didn't get that, you know. We did get after that, though, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The stipulation for this was if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lost, they would remain fired from SmackDown Live. And that's what happened. But not before we took the majority of the match where Daniel Bryan wasn't wrestling in there. And I think that kind of the one thing that you should say that you shouldn't do in this match is cut out the guy that everybody wants to see the most. And rest the laurels on Shane McMahon and his punches and stuff.
I thought it was
those punches.
It made sense.
He looked blown up like fuck, and
So he's grabbing his gut the entire time because he has a legitimate hernia.
Yeah, it's like, well, if that's legit, then why do they have him do that necessarily? Why not do the whole send Daniel Bryan to the back and then he comes back out kind of thing? I think that everybody would have been just fine with Daniel Bryan just wrestling the match like normal, you know?
That was one of the quietest reactions to a coast to coast I think I've ever seen.
I was impressed if he still did the coast to coast.
Well, no, I'm saying like it was a silent reaction to it. Like the crowd just like they popped for like the connection and then just went completely dead quiet. because nobody cared about the other three people in this match. They just wanted to see Daniel Bryan. And you take him out immediately. And, like, no wonder people are going to be completely, like, sitting on their hands for 2/3 of it. They're just waiting for Bryan to make the hot tag.
I think if anything, just like what they did just kind of solidified and helped, bring back the idea that Daniel Bryan is a star and that he is as big of a deal as he is now as he was before.
He looked good. That was good.
Yeah, feel good moment.
I'm going to be interested to see what they do with him going forward when he actually has to be doing one-on-one matches, because he did his kicks, he did the knee, he did the turnbuckle backflip, he ran the ropes, he did a suplex, and he did the S-lock. There wasn't too much that he did, so and then a drop kick as well off the top. So we'll see what he does going forward. We'll see what different type styles of wrestling he adopts, because I doubt he's gonna do like the headbutts, the like super intense style that he used to do with like running off the ropes constantly doing moves. So we'll see if he wrestles at the same at the same level as he did before. But honestly, as Daniel Bryan being my favorite wrestler of all time, and that's the person that got me back in watching wrestling originally, I am pretty fucking ecstatic with how this match took place, and I am super fucking just happy that just to be watching wrestling right now. It's a good time.
This was a feel good moment.
Yeah, it was my Shawn
That's
Michaels
mostly
moment
what
for
it needed
me,
to be.
damn it.
Yeah, it was like the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn thing. I'm assuming they're going to Monday Night Raw. We need to figure out something to do with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon and who's going to control SmackDown and some different things like that. We got storylines to follow this up with, and we can look forward to Daniel Bryan versus Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, Nakamura, a bunch of different people like that. Certainly Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. That has to be on the docket at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But this was mostly just, hey, isn't it kind of cool that Daniel Bryan's back? And it was like, yep. Or more importantly, yes.
Yes.
And no, I don't really have any complaints for the most part. I didn't go into this expecting it to be some 5-star match.
But it was solid for what it was. I think
it was fine.
I think what this Mania really did, it left a lot of really feel good moments, in my opinion. Like, not the match. What? There was like 2 really good moments with Ronda Rousey, and then this moment. I think that's 2.
It had some feel good moments and some what the fuck moments.
This
was a moment WrestleMania.
Moments. Listen, you guys might hate the main event and shit like that, but I was fucking fine with that. So, and I was fine with the matches before that. Like I said, I really think this WrestleMania was awesome. So, you guys can be the haters all you want.
Oh, I'm not saying everything's bad. I'm saying just like confusing and stuff.
Oh no, it's confusing as shit. I agree with you, but I just think it's awesome still. It's like, why the fuck not? It's WrestleMania. It doesn't. None of this needs to make fucking sense. So they have the shit they do tonight, they'll fucking fix tomorrow. Like Dolph Ziggler cashing in the next night instead of at Mania. Why the fuck do all the fun stuff at Mania?
Dolph Ziggler's gonna cash in tomorrow. He's gonna cash in Carmella's.
Just imagine.
Oh, speaking on the idea of something to nitpick, Nia Jax and Alicia Fox, I was going to call her, Alexa Bliss. Not even close.
Roll with it, too. I would have went with it.
This should have been so much quicker. This should have been the 2-minute match, not the Undertaker one.
It did not need to go over 10 minutes.
No.
It went over 10 minutes.
However, I would say, even though it shouldn't have been as long as it was, for what it was, I was impressed with it.
It was 10 minutes and 15 seconds.
I was, okay, yeah, for as long as it was, maybe like a couple minutes too long, I was actually really fine with it. I think Alexa Bliss did too many eye racks, or racks to the eye. I thought that got a little annoying. Eye racks, yeah, boob racks to the eyes.
I think Nia Jax was showing a little rack in this.
I enjoyed it because it made Nia look really well. She looked fantastic for the most part. I get this idea that the storyline was about like kind of like the body shaming stuff. I will see how they go with that going forward. For the most part, everything was fine. Nothing to complain about, and it was just solid ass kicking for the most part. Nia Jax threw Mickie James around in those heels too, and I was like, oh god, hopefully she's okay, because fuck, Mickie got laid the fuck out, and it was incredible.
I think it still should have been a squash, though.
Yeah, but we got to see her ragdoll Mickie, and I guess they decided to have Alexa get heat just to extend the show a little bit. I was cool with it, and the finish was cool with the Samoan drop from the top.
Ooh, yes. That was a good moment.
Because Alexa's so much smaller than her, it really looked like she's dying in that spot. You know what I mean?
If they don't treat more of her Nia Jax competitors like Alexa Bliss, I will be very disappointed, because I think her size, just how much bigger she is than everyone, I think it's a big enough difference to the point where you can treat her as like a special attraction, where it's like you like kind of like the Big Show. She should be going out there and ragdolling and just blowing through everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do that now, especially if she's champion. And especially, I mean, we don't know what the situation with Asuka is going forward, but if she stays on SmackDown, Nia Jax needs to blow through Monday Night Raw. She needs to blow through Bayley. She needs to blow through Sasha Banks. She needs to take out and destroy these people and build her up, because they have something with her. We shat on her for a while. It turns out Nia Jax isn't that bad of a wrestler. She is a decent promo cutter now. I think she's a decent character. They just really they need to just actually do this correctly and not fuck this up like they do with a lot of other bigger people when it comes to, like, you know, just like how they book them. Don't like, I was fine with her. We don't have her like become a Big Show where like, oh no, like she has to like beg for her job and have her cry, because it's funny to have like a big person cry or something bullshit like that, even though she cried after she won the championship. That's not that big of a deal. That moment I'm fine with, but just actually book her correctly, please, WWE, because I actually like her now.
Well, I ask this to everybody. Go around the horn here. Who do you want to beat Nia Jax, and when?
Oh, that's a big question.
I can't think of anything right now.
Me neither. Who do you pair her against? Who does she even defend the title against at this point?
I'd have her lose it to Carmella.
I thought that was going to happen here.
I didn't see it happening after the. I thought if it was going to happen, it was going to happen after the SmackDown one. But I think that you need to have some sort of situation where she gets like her legs taken out of her in a match with, say, an Asuka or something like that, and that she somehow manages to overcome and win, but Carmella cashes in, because I think having this kind of like bratty, undeserving champion helps build up Nia as a babyface further.
But then don't you just have Nia Jax in her rematch clause beat the shit out of Carmella, and then
Carmella can just run away. Carmella can just run away. She does the count out stuff and the disqualification stuff, which obviously I know people like shit on as like results, but like it's a good way to build up legitimate heat for somebody.
You would do with Carmella literally the same thing with what you would do with Daniel Bryan, where even if it's like having Daniel Bryan put AJ Lee in front of the Big Show, just like I don't know, who would Carmella put in, like put James Ellsworth in front of Nia Jax and like take him out as like do shit like that. I think that would be funny.
But that's the only one I can realistically see at the moment. I can't see anyone like beating her like straight up in a one-on-one match at the moment. And I don't think there should be. It's finally the opportunity, like Drew was saying, to not be half pregnant with Nia Jax. You don't have to like hold back anymore because you wanted someone else to be the champion. And even though she was like the most dominant woman on the roster, you couldn't push forward with her as much as you like, because you had both Asuka as an undefeated like megastar and Alexa Bliss as a champion. You always had to keep Nia just going, oh, she's the most dominant, but she's losing in really stupid ways as well. Now you can actually go whole hog with her and say, okay, she's the champion. Stop making jokes about the fatness thing, God.
You know.
Oh, you said half pregnant, and then you said whole hog. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, but you're reading into this, not me.
I wasn't the only one laughing.
Saying it.
I'm saying it like they're legitimate things you could say in this situation.
Mm-hmm, of course.
Okay, you're hamming up the segment quite a bit now.
Well, the third to last match of the night was the one that most people were looking forward to as being the potential best match of the night, and I don't think that it really lived up to the expectations. But if you're talking about expectations, all right, I didn't see this happening. AJ Styles retains the WWE Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura, and we were kind of suggesting the idea of like, well, I wonder if that's a possibility.
I knew not to get totally into the idea of Nakamura winning because I figured WWE would probably want to keep it on AJ. I did not think they would do what they did, but I wasn't surprised to see AJ win.
Well, this was the type of scenario, and I'll mention this with the Universal Championship too, where I look back on my predictions for WrestleMania and I realize that I overanalyze so much stuff when it comes to something like a WrestleMania because I go, well, this is the obvious thing, so they're going to do the switch up. Wait, the switch up would be obvious, so they're going to go to the obvious because the obvious thing would be the most predictable and the least predictable. And then I start bouncing around, and then I go, oh, sometimes maybe they're just going, fuck it, that kind of a thing.
Why not?
With Asuka losing, that took me by surprise. And then I thought to myself, oh, there's no way that Shinsuke Nakamura loses now.
And then bam.
And I thought maybe Asuka would turn heel on Charlotte.
Nope.
And then I was like, okay, that's not happening, or whatever like that. Yeah, we get Shinsuke Nakamura losing, and Shinsuke turns heel. And I'm like, well, shit, if you would have told me one or both of the Royal Rumble winners don't win the title, also one of them's going to turn heel, I would have been like, all right, well, I'm going into WrestleMania with both of them guaranteed to win, and neither of them turning. And if that's going to be one or the other, it's Asuka that's going to turn heel, obviously, like that kind of a thing. But damn, Shinsuke Nakamura turns heel with a low blow, and I was really kind of like, when they showed him at the end and he was bowing down and handing the title, I was like, oh, please low blow him. As soon as he did it, I was just like, yeah, all right, fuck yeah. I like this idea that Shinsuke turned heel.
I am too. I'm actually also glad he didn't win because I don't think he's ready. So
yep, I agree.
And I don't know if it's WWE's fault or his fault at this point, but I'm starting to feel like he's foaming it in. I don't think he's giving it his all or as much as he would as he did in New Japan, because you can see because when you see AJ Styles compete, he competes at like a very high level every single night. You see what Shinsuke did before he came to WWE and what he does now. It's not the same, and I don't think it's an issue with like the language barrier and him having to like transition to the WWE style, and AJ's been more used to this kind of style. I just don't know if Shinsuke should be at a main event level yet, and that might be a controversial opinion. I'm not quite sure, but I don't know if he should be anytime soon.
I think this heel turn gives him the platform to become like the real main eventer, not just someone that you think should have the championship because you're a big name outside of WWE. The thing that was missing a lot from this match compared to their previous matches in New Japan, there wasn't that hint of animosity between the two of them. There wasn't that personal rivalry. It was kind of like in the build up to it, even though I liked elements of the build up, like I said in the predictions, it was all built on just respect and mind games, and that was okay, but it was never going to lead to a 5-star match because you need to have that personal element to it. You need to have that some sort of like heated rivalry or tension between the two of them. Whereas this was just kind of a standard match. It was still very good, but nothing that really blows you away because you're not as invested, because you don't believe that one of the guys really hates or wants to really beat up the other one. They just want to have a match.
What hurt this match, in my opinion, to me, the story of this match, I thought it was a good story of like the slow paced style that they told. What also hurt it was the story in that they played the injuries that they both gave each other like very, very much towards the end, and it really kind of slowed and hampered the match as well. And that they didn't like it. I'm fine with the match with what it was, but I fucking know next month they're gonna have a better match at the next pay-per-view, and that's gonna really fucking piss me off, knowing that we didn't get the WrestleMania match that we probably could have gotten, and we're gonna get the better match next month or later this month, whenever they have their rematch.
I don't
Well,
mind that
don't-
as much because
Don't lose track of the fact that we've got the Greatest Royal Rumble coming up. And I would not be shocked at all if some of these title changes that didn't happen, if they happen at the Greatest Royal Rumble. I would not be surprised if Nakamura doesn't win that title then.
So, is the Greatest Royal Rumble, is that supposed to replace like Extreme Rules?
Nope, it's just extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this is a kind of like the Beast in the East or whatnot.
It kind of, if anything, replaces Payback.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot Payback was after
'Cause
Mania.
It was supposed to be Backlash and then Payback, and they got rid of Payback, and then
Yeah.
they put this before that. So.
I forgot that they got rid of like 3 pay-per-views.
No Mercy, no Great Balls of Fire, no
That-
Battleground, and Payback.
Hey, y'all hated on Great Balls of Fire, and I told you that pay-per-view was going to be awesome, and it was pretty good.
Dumbass name though.
Yeah, but it was so good.
Well, I want to put this idea out there for everybody, just because it's something that's on my mind a little bit. You got AJ Styles, you got a heel Shinsuke Nakamura right now. There's potential for people to turn heel and babyface and stuff. We're mentioning the idea of, like, we want to see Daniel Bryan versus certain people, the idea of Finn Balor going over to SmackDown. What about next year's WrestleMania? Do we go AJ versus Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Finn Balor? Do we go, like, AJ versus Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bryan? Do we go Bryan, Miz, Nakamura, Orton, AJ, Balor? Like, what kind of pairings do you think we get going on?
There's too many questions. There's too many fucking possibilities. I don't know, man.
Well, I think they're gonna do Nakamura Bryan at SummerSlam. I don't think they have the patience to wait till Mania. I think Mania for Bryan will probably be the Miz, but I couldn't tell you who I saw with Nakamura. Maybe Finn Balor if they do what I want them to do and move Balor to SmackDown. Maybe that's what we get there.
It's crazy between Daniel Bryan's last match and now. There's like 20 potential dream matches for him to fucking have. And I want him to have it with AJ Styles and Shinsuke, but I don't know when those matches are going to be. Because, like you said, they could rush both of those matches. Well, I wouldn't even be surprised if they blow like the Shinsuke or the AJ Styles one, like especially the AJ one if he's still champion, at like some pay-per-view in June or July or something like that.
Oh, you're saying on a pay-per-view? I think they could like blow one of those matches on an episode of SmackDown.
Oh, they could. They easily could. So, and it also depends on what Daniel Bryan's wrestling schedule is going to be, because there's always that rumored 80 to 100 shows that's going around. So, but I don't know if they save AJ Styles till next year, that's fine. But you know, there's the rumors of AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. So I mean, with Shinsuke, who the fuck knows? If he's in the main event, that's one thing. But they really have to do something with him this next year, because if he like flounders still in like the mid card area or with whatever they do, he could easily turn into a Hideo Itami.
No.
He's accomplished a lot more in Hideo, but he could easily become this extra that they don't use. Hideo's a good wrestler as well. Don't forget.
I don't think they'll ever get that low with him, but I do think the way they treat his heel turn will be very.
What if Hideo Itami this whole time, when he keeps chanting "respect me," he's really just trying to say that to the people backstage? Poor guy.
I do hope that they don't try any of this. It's a dream match, and it's going to be a big match because it's a wrestling match, and because it really didn't do the match any favors. The fans even started chanting "boring" to a point because they weren't being floored with amazing athleticism. Because I think the match couldn't live up to the hype, you know?
I think that's a flaw in the fans a little bit too. You know, they touted this as being like the end all be all, and I mean, we left TakeOver last night going, shit, that's a match of the year candidate, and that's a match of the year candidate, and 2 matches on that card last night were significantly better than Styles Nakamura.
They're better than anything on this show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it ended up
TakeOver
being
was on another level. WrestleMania did not compare.
It ended up kind of being what we were saying. The TakeOver was the wrestling show. It kicked so much ass, and Mania was the moment show.
Yeah, that's how I describe like WrestleMania. It's kind of like it was a variety show with wrestling sprinkled into it. rather than an actual wrestling show.
Hasn't that been like that for the past like 3 years though?
Yeah, and that's
with
why I
like,
haven't enjoyed it as much as I used to. So it used to feel like it fit into the narrative, and especially the last couple of years, it felt a little bit like, okay, this is our free non-canon show that we just use to try and get people to get excited, so that aren't really fans of WWE to sign up for the network a little bit longer.
Well, I also blame it on you feel like the need to have part-time wrestlers wrestle all the time, because let's say the big, like right now, we kind of said earlier that the best thing that happened on this show was a match with 2 part-timers and Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. And you know that it's like they still rely on these part-timers way too much. And this is a complaint that I've had with them for years, and it's probably not going to change. It is what it is. I get it; they're big names, but that is a legitimate thing to complain about, in my opinion.
Well, if we want to get into some crazy stuff.
Well,
oh man, I don't even know where to begin when it comes to this, as far as how to unpack it. But we get the Bar coming out with some freaky ass shit. That whole, like, I'm not a big fan of this. Like, I hate like Carnival and Mardi Gras stuff, and I hate like the circus, and like I got a buddy who does the Mummers Parade, and I think that it's horrible. It's just like, oh, it's so much fun, and I'm like, no, this is ridiculous. I don't like clowns. I don't like loud, boisterous stuff. Like I hate all that kind of crap. You include puppets with that? And I'm really just like, oh god.
Tony's
and I was
heel
thinking
turn right now on the podcast.
Oh, I don't think that's a heel turn at all. I think that's pure babyface adrenaline right there. But that wasn't even the weirdest thing. Braun Strowman comes out and he says his tag team partner is somebody in the crowd, and I'm sitting there going, oh, okay, cool. Who are they going to introduce as like another person, like a John Cena? Like maybe there's a legend in the crowd, and it's like, you know, this whole time they've been sitting here. Maybe it's like a celebrity and they're going to do some kind of thing with like Shaq or something like that. He starts going around, and I swear to God, I thought to myself, I'm like, is that No Way Jose? There's a dude that looked just like him.
It was one of the production dudes.
And I was just like, okay, I didn't expect that to come around. Oh, wait, he's passing him. Oh, all right. Oh, wait, is that guy Kurt Hawkins? Is that actually going to be Kurt? No, okay, that's not Kurt Hawkins. And I'm like, where are they going with this? And he picks out who, at first, I was like, why is he picking that little girl?
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Well, it's Nicholas.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I've mentioned this before. During pay-per-views, this is what I do. I'm talking with a bunch of people that are sitting around with me. I'm writing up the live results on smarkmo.com, and I'm writing up a post on Bleacher Report for highlights and low points of the night. I also have to take care of the current and future predictions of the champions, the title reigns, if anybody has a new title change, all the other kind of elements like that. So at this point, I've got up a post about Braun Strowman and to-be-determined tag team partner have become the new tag team champions in case that happens. And I'm ready to plug in a name, ready to type in Big Show, ready to type in whatever. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, how do I write this? How do I write down what happened with Nicholas? I don't even know how to classify it as like a highlight or a low point. I ended up putting it down as mixed bag because I was just like, what the fuck? They're not going to let me type out here what the fuck moment of the night. And I don't know what the hell's going on here, but we've got the youngest champion in WWE history. Do you want beating out Kenny Dykstra and stuff by like 10 years or something.
Do you want the scoop on this Nicholas?
He has to be Braun Strowman's nephew or something,
no,
right?
No, he is John Cone, referee John Cone's son.
Oh my god.
John Cone's son?
Yes.
Oh my god. So
Nicholas Cone.
Hey, listen, in tremendous WWE fashion, they cut one part of his name because they thought it was too long.
Nick Cone. Well, crap, like, what do we do with this? Oh, wait, was he?
No, I don't know if he was actually refereeing this match, but that's
should have been.
Apparently, that's who he is. So we get that little. That's why he could be able to travel with WWE for a little bit because his dad's traveling all the time as well. So,
so
are you suggesting that they're actually going to have a run with the championships.
Well, they clearly didn't just pick some random kid.
That is true. I mean, they
couldn't.
kid started walking back as well. It wasn't like the kid just went back to his seat. He went backstage, so that's how we fucking knew that it was.
Yeah, he's a champion now. He has to go backstage.
Well, they couldn't just, for legal rights, they couldn't just pick somebody random because too many liabilities and stuff like that. So
if they picked someone random, they wouldn't have tagged into the match.
Of course. No, they
couldn't have even had them standing on the ringside stuff because if somebody would have bumped into the ropes and the kid would have fallen, it would have been a whole thing. So when he was pointing out somebody and it was just walking through the crowd, I was like, oh, somebody's going to stop him. And then he gets into the actual ring and I'm like, oh shit, okay, something's up here. He's got to be somebody's kid or something. But I have to admit it, part of me was going, this would be great if he tags the kid in and he gets a fucking bro kick. And that's the reason why Braun Strowman loses. And then you follow the bro kick up with Cesaro spinning the kid. I was like, all right, I'm actually rooting against Braun Strowman now.
A part of me honestly thought that Strowman was going to go at this alone.
Yeah, I thought that was a possibility, and that they could have just, but like I thought that there might have been a little thing where Kurt Angle would pop up and be like, "You really want to do this on your own? All right, go ahead and try it," or something, or like when he brought the kid out, that it would have been like, "Stop! You can't have a kid do this, Braun. You got to either do this on your own, or you got to find somebody else." And then he goes, "I'm going to be on my own," or like I kind of figured something like that, but Nicholas is a champion now, and I don't know, like, should we already start taking bets on, is he going to be the next Money in the Bank, or like?
Okay,
the sky's the limit for Nicholas. I mean,
he currently has the streak for WrestleMania.
He does.
He's the next fucking Undertaker.
I like it. He's going at it at a young age, so by the time he gets up to Taker's age, he's at like 40, so it's even better. It's, oh my god, Nicholas is a fucking hero. And listen, my only complaint about Nick, he needs to buff up a little bit. He was having issues holding the belt. He was having issues holding the belt. He was having issues putting it on his shoulder. I was afraid he was going to fall down. And, it would have been like watching someone trying to do bench presses and the bar gets stuck and he starts to choke. I was nervous for the poor kid.
Okay, I'm going to be the one to say it because as someone who's like quite a mark for tag team wrestling in general, isn't it a little like devaluing basically every person that's ever held the tag team championship that a 10-year-old is now holding one of the titles?
Yes. No, actually, I lied. No, because the point of all this is to show that it's Braun Strowman could be anyone by himself. The point of this
why isn't Braun Strowman the world champion?
Because Brock Lesnar's the world champion, and he can't beat Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar's Brock Lesnar. Listen, if I was here for the past 8 months, I would argue this with you, but we don't have time. We're 2 hours in.
I go along the lines of like, then can we ever really conceive of Sheamus and Cesaro ever winning singles championships because they can't beat Braun Strowman when they're working together?
I mean, I don't know. Goldberg destroyed Lesnar twice, and then Lesnar beat him. Did Lesnar destroy the title shot? Did he deserve the title shot at Goldberg after Goldberg destroyed him at Survivor Series and eliminated him at the Rumble?
But I mean, I think I just go along the lines thinking like this would be a really cool moment if it was like a house show thing, or it was like a non-title match, or it was a house show where Braun Strowman beats both tag team champions and he hoists the kid aloft and stuff like that, and the crowd can go home happy. I don't really like it when it's legitimate and he's actually holding the championship and he's actually registered as a tag team champion now.
I think if it was two people that were not as high on the card, or we held to as high respects as Sheamus and Cesaro, then it wouldn't be as big of a deal. I think the issue is Sheamus is a former world champion and Cesaro is someone that people think should have been a world champion at some point. I mean, if this was like Heath Slater and Rhino, would we really care?
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. It's a bigger, more memorable moment. And obviously that's the good thing about it, is that it's a bigger, more memorable moment than if it would just be in a match between Sheamus and Cesaro and the Revival for the Tag Team Championships, something that people just wouldn't care about. But that's kind of part of the issue, is the fact that why does nobody... Like, this is probably the clearest indication in history that Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's weird. Like, this is a situation where I can understand people criticizing it, and I can understand there's some comments I had read where people going, why wasn't it like a big star, like a Rey Mysterio or something, and it's just this Nicholas kid, and you can make the argument that it's like, well, that's a little bit devaluing the title because it's a little kid, but the little kid didn't win the titles, so that's a good thing. Like, he didn't pin Sheamus or something, and
Do you think this was the plan
I think
all
we've
along?
had, like, no.
Yeah, I think
I
this
don't-
might have just been a last minute thing that they had someone in mind and they just couldn't do it for some reason, or they changed their mind at the last minute.
Fun.
I think the idea all along was just, wouldn't it be interesting if we had Braun win the tag titles by himself? And then somebody said, why don't we just pair him up with, like, I don't know, like a fucking kid or something? And then they were like, okay, does anybody have a kid that could do it? And John Cone was like, my kid could do it. And, you know,
The only
like, I think
thing
that
is-
it kind of came about, like, a little bit sort of along that way. A little bit more than, I don't think, 3 months ago they were sitting there going, all right, we need to book the Royal Rumble. Braun Strowman and Kane and Brock Lesnar. We're going to build to Brock Lesnar retaining the title at WrestleMania, and Braun Strowman's going to be teaming up with a kid, and like that kind of. I don't think that they had that plan even 3 or 4 weeks ago necessarily.
But if
Yeah.
you were gonna go with the kid, you might as well have gone with JJ. You know?
I
Man.
think that's too much of a health thing.
Yeah, and I think also, like, again, it's John Cone's kid, so he can travel with him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's probably got too many other commitments other than the WWE stuff.
How old is
Wouldn't
Miz
it be
Girl now?
weird if, like, I don't know, say the kid's like probably what, like 11, 12, something like that?
No, he looks like he's 8 or 9. He,
He
doesn't
looks-
look 11 or 12.
he's probably 10. Let's say 10.
Let's say just 10 years from now, whatever. Wouldn't it be kind of weird if, like, he actually is, like, he becomes, like, a actual sports entertainer wrestler in WWE, and it's just kind of like, you start off and you go, yeah, my debut was where I won the tag team titles when I was a child at WrestleMania. I'm undefeated at WrestleMania, and I've been in one fucking match and stuff, like that kind of a thing. Like, this kid's accomplished more in his life than I have.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So it's
Not for him, it sucks for me, but like, this is such a weird situation, and I don't hate it. I just don't know what to think. Because the Bar losing to Braun Strowman, if they would have lost in a handicap match, I still would have thought the same kind of thing where it's like, well, it's Braun Strowman. They've been setting him up to be this monster, and he can beat like anybody at any time except for Brock Lesnar for some fucking reason. And I'm not opposed to the handicap match type of thing and stuff, but this Nicholas thing really threw me for a loop because I went into this going, oh, it's probably Big Show. Maybe it's Big Cass. Maybe it's Samoa Joe. Maybe it's actually Ray. Maybe it's Bobby Lashley. I don't know. Maybe it's this person. Maybe it's that person. If you would have told me it was a fucking child, I would never would have fucking believed it.
if the only thing I would have done differently, honestly, if they didn't have the Undertaker Cena thing planned out, they could have done this match early on, and they could have done Cena and him. That's like the only thing I would have done differently, and I would have been interested in Cena and Braun Strowman as tag team champions. Just from the standpoint that would have been interesting. But I don't know that we've been talking about the idea that Strowman could plow through anyone he wants to, and the idea of him doing 1-on-2, that's cool. I'm fine with that. Ryback did that for a while, and I thought that was bad as fuck. Ryback was like my favorite wrestler when he was doing 1v2. So if Strowman does the same thing, fuck yeah. Who cares? Let him do
How
it.
do you guys think that they address this? Do they actually still have Braun Strowman and Nicholas just kind of like
I bet they.
every couple of weeks do something? Or is it like Kurt Angle comes out on... Because what's going to happen with the Kurt Angle thing? Do Stephanie and Triple H fire him? Does he stick around? Do they say Nicholas can't fucking wrestle? We have to have Braun Strowman have a different tag team partner. Like, what do you guys think they're going for?
I think they'll probably do some sort of bullshit thing where they say like there's some sort of unknown WWE rule that you have to be a certain age to hold a championship, and they essentially vacate the belts, and then it ends in some sort of tournament in the next pay-per-view that either the Revival or Gallows and Anderson or something win, and Braun Strowman does something else.
I don't.
Or Authors of Pain.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
And Braun Strowman then just goes into a feud with Samoa Joe or something.
I don't know what happens, but what I hope happens is in 2 weeks I'm seeing promo packages of Nicholas calling out Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy.
Well, I think Kurt Angle's going to get fired because they set the seeds for that with him putting the ankle lock on Steph. That's going to be the loophole to get him fired. And as far as the Nicholas thing, I think Callum nailed it. You know, they'll probably say he can't be a champion. He has to go to school. It might be as
he's got school on Monday.
It might be as simple and dumb as that. You know, he's got school. He can't do this. So I don't want to see them vacate it though and do a tournament because, again, the tournament would be like, oh, that's so prestigious, but it's like you just had a kid win the fucking title. So is it really? I don't know.
You know, I wouldn't be opposed to this if two things happen with that. If they have this whole thing where they go, all right, look, this is ridiculous. Even for WWE, this is ridiculous. We can't have Nicholas be the goddamn champion. Braun, I'm sorry, you have to vacate it, and we just need to crown new champions. And then they do maybe just a couple week tournament type of thing. We know that every title is on the line at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Every one except for the women's, because apparently women aren't allowed to wrestle there because women are like awful or some fucking thing. I don't know. I don't believe in this country bullshit. But we got the Bar, we got Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, we got the Revival, Titus Worldwide, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Mr. Raj, Heath Slater and Rhino. And I don't think I'm forgetting about anybody on Raw, right?
No, that's about it.
Any of the tag teams? And then, of course, we could switch everything up with the greatest, not the greatest Royal Rumble, the Backlash situation and stuff. You know, who knows?
Do you know?
But what if we get, say, and this is going to spill over into the next topic a little bit, but Braun Strowman has to vacate the title, and Kurt Angle, Triple H, whoever's in charge says, look, Braun, I know this sucks, but we'll give you this idea. We're going to crown a new champion, set of champions for the tag titles, and maybe even this becomes like the Authors of Pain come up or something like that. You know, that would be kind of interesting. But they go, look, to counteract this, Braun, we're giving you that Universal title shot at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And he beats Brock Lesnar.
I think you really, really, really just want to see Braun Strowman as the Universal Champion.
I do, but like, there's got to be at least some of a reason why Brock Lesnar retained here.
But the funniest thing to me, this just popped in my head of like, he can't be champion. He doesn't even have a passport. He can't go to Saudi Arabia. He has to vacate the titles.
We're talking about the kid?
Yeah, the kid.
You don't know. He could have a passport.
Yeah, most people do.
I have a passport. I've had a passport.
I actually don't have a passport.
12. Well, Tony, have you been out of the country?
Nope.
See, then that's why you don't have a passport.
I've also not been Raw Tag Team Champion. I have been 10 or however fucking old he is.
Oh, shit. We've all been 10.
But I've never been John Cone's kid.
Oh, God.
Adopt me.
But
go ahead, do
please,
like he's 10.
Nicholas.
He's 10 and he's tag team champion. Ty Dillon's just the perfect 10 and he can't even get onto his like SmackDown pre-show.
And when I was 10, I was getting mad at SmackDown versus Raw and accidentally breaking my controller when I got eliminated from the Rumble on accident. It is winning at WrestleMania at the age of 10.
Yeah, this could be a good. I was gonna say this could be a good segment. We could all just talk about what we were doing at 10 years old.
So I just want to point out, I think it says that Nicholas is 10 years old.
So he is 10.
Yes. And it's funny when you go on Wikipedia, it says Braun Strowman and 10-year-old Nicholas.
10-year-old Nicholas.
Oh God.
Let's move on from this freak
So
show.
from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows.
Well, see, this is where WrestleMania gets funky because they went through this whole stuff throughout the night, and it's like, wow, I didn't expect Charlotte to win, and wow, I didn't expect this to happen, and whoa, that was pretty cool, and wow, that was interesting, whatever. And then it goes, here's your Universal title match where people are going to chant boring, and this is awful, and it's a lose-lose. You've got either Roman Reigns wins, And everybody goes, fucking saw that coming. That's predictable as hell. We're in this scenario. Hey, Brock Lesnar wins. And I don't want to hear this. So people, before we get even into this, if you leave a comment like this, you're an asshole. Just because Roman Reigns was the predictable option and they didn't go with the predictable option doesn't mean that this is something that's so fucking great. Brock Lesnar winning here is a shock for anybody that was expecting it to be otherwise. But a shock for the sake of a shock does not mean that it's amazing. I would argue, depending on what they go with in the future, this could potentially be even worse. Brock Lesnar, as the champion right now, could lead into a lot of different scenarios that really, really suck. Or it could be great. I don't know. And that makes me really hard to kind of go, do I like this? Do I not like it? So I look at it through a bubble. If it's inside this bubble of just WrestleMania, I think the match was okay, but I didn't give a shit about it. And now I feel like they wasted a year's worth of build-up, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like it.
I forgot that they wasted a year of building up this match. Oh shit! Now I understand why everyone's mad.
It's a lot more reason than just that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know, but that's a big part of it. I that was something I hadn't put much thought into.
know, and to believe these guys main evented WrestleMania 31 and actually put on one hell of a brutal match, that was actually, I think, really good. If you guys remember that bout.
Yeah, that was
I remember
good.
liking it pretty
I
good.
was expecting something along the lines of that, but what we got here was just, I don't know what that was.
I honestly,
Oh, you go ahead, Joe.
oh, I was gonna say I don't know if this was them changing or I don't know. We all know with Lesnar having like the contract issues and like with or whatever over the past month, if like is he gonna come back or whatnot, and then. I don't know, with the way that the crowd reacted, you never know if like maybe they just didn't care as much when they got out there. But honestly, there were some parts of this match I thought were fine. There were some cool spots, but honestly, when you're dealing with Brock Lesnar and all he does is F5s, clotheslines, whatever, and suplexes, then you're not really going to get a whole lot, especially when we're in this mode now where he just destroys everyone. And I've been on this boat for a couple years where I don't think Brock Lesnar should be champion. I know Wago would probably say differently still, but God, I really would like to have a champion. I watch Raw. I watch SmackDown occasionally, and if Daniel Bryan's on SmackDown, I'll probably start watching SmackDown more, but it's always been easier for me to watch Raw. And it's a lot easier to watch Raw when the fucking heavyweight champion for that show is actually there. So I am starting to fully understand why people would be mad about that now. But I don't know. I like the match, and it doesn't piss me off as much that he won, other than that one part.
This is what bothers me about this scenario. I've been talking for a solid year about how I think this is a mistake, and I kind of feel like there's no justification for what we got. Because if you went into this with, a year ago they said, what we want to do is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. We'll spend the year trying to build up Roman Reigns. People will love him by then. We'll anoint him as the champion. He'll beat Brock Lesnar, and that'll be the end of it. They didn't accomplish their goal. If they went into it going, well, that's our goal, and then a week or so ago they said, how about we just have Brock win because we don't really want to necessarily do that, then that means that they spent an entire year on something that they felt wasn't going to work and that they didn't do their job and that they didn't think ahead that that was going to be the case and that they felt nothing differently about just, we'll just change it on the fly, who cares? And if the plan was to set up an entire year just to have Brock Lesnar retain, then who the fuck did they have be Brock Lesnar that gives a shit about,
Okay, so 2 years ago, WrestleMania 32, I hated the fact that Dean Ambrose came at Brock Lesnar with a chainsaw and a barbed wire baseball bat, and Brock not only didn't flinch, but he walked right through him. And I'm like, who do you have beat Brock Lesnar? And then after last year with Roman and Taker, you're like, okay, I may not like it, but this is obviously where they're going. And then you get to this match, and Roman kicks out of 5 F5s, only to get caught anyway and lose. And now you're just kind of like, well, what do they do? Who's left for Brock? Roman looks about as damaged as, John does after tonight. They're kind of left without any, mega heroes and a champion that isn't really there. Now, my thought was, maybe they're just doing this for tonight. Maybe it's like the Dolph Ziggler cash-in thing where tomorrow we'll have a major Raw moment and whoever will beat Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley will debut on Raw and beat Brock Lesnar. Not that that's the name that came to mind. I was actually thinking maybe Undertaker. I don't know. But what do you really do now?
Oh, you know what would be fucking hilarious? 2 years later, Undertaker shows up on Raw. He comes out with the box he won at WrestleMania 32. And it's a contract for a match for the fucking title or some bullshit like that.
It's about the lockbox. God.
The lockbox was destroyed, I thought.
Nah.
And wasn't the lockbox something that
it was
Vince was like
Vince.
Okay.
Like bad things that Vince didn't want to get leaked or something?
Yeah,
it was nudes of the Undertaker.
Okay, yeah, but
it was the page nudes.
Yeah, well, they already got leaked, so they don't matter. But no, so like the Undertaker could do his like if it got the box got destroyed, the Undertaker could just like with like the clothes in the ring tonight, he could use his lightning magic show powers and make it appear again, just like that.
I just don't know what to do with this going forward, and I really hate that this was the last part of the night.
Yeah,
for me, I was going to say for me, this match felt like the point of no return for Roman Reigns.
I agree 100%.
I think even if you turn him heel or whatever, I don't think you can salvage him now. It's gone to the point of like they're going to turn him heel, and people are now going to clue into the fact, oh, you're turning him heel now, so you expect us to like him now that he's a heel. No, we just still don't care, because this wasn't people angry at Roman Reigns. I mean, they're still kind of angry at the system. Yeah, it was a group of people actively saying we don't want to see this and we don't care about this anymore. They obviously care about it a bit because they're chanting the stuff like this is boring, CM Punk, all the other stuff they usually do, but it's not because they hate Roman Reigns, because there were people giving smatterings of applause to Roman Reigns after he left. They do respect Roman Reigns as a wrestler. They just don't want to see him at the top anymore, and they don't want to see Brock at the top anymore.
That's what I was going to say. Arguably, if you would have had Roman Reigns versus somebody else, they might have cared.
Yeah, exactly. It's going along the lines of these two aren't what they want to see as the main event. And like Brock has his supporters obviously as well, and Roman has certain male supporters as well. But if these are the two people you want to have as like your main heavyweight feud, then you're just not going to get any positive results out of it. And at this point with Roman, you can't try anything else. The heel turn is the only thing you can try, but you've dilly-dallied on it for so long that nobody will care when it does actually happen.
It's still something they have to try, I think. It's the only thing left. Like, as a conquering babyface, that's got to be done. Like, there's nowhere he can go after this.
I do agree that it's the only thing that they can do, but I just think the effectiveness of it now is pretty much... I'm not going to say it's like it's still worth doing to see if it does have an effect, and I'm not going to say it's like entirely written off, but it just feels like you should have done that 2 years ago.
May I ask a question then?
4.
Yes. So, in the event that they do turn Reigns heel and it doesn't work, well, regardless of why it doesn't work, I mean, let's say for some reason he turns heel and they start cheering him instead. Or let's just say he just stops getting a reaction after he turns heel. What do you do with him at that point?
I think you just got it out and you just keep pushing him. And
you either keep pushing him or you just put him into the kind of mid card for long enough that people not so much forget about all of the pushing they did earlier with him, but just respect his matches enough that they can just gradually start putting him back into the main event.
Give him that Sheamus treatment.
Well, one thing I would do is I wouldn't have him main event WrestleMania again.
4 years straight.
Yeah, it's 4 years straight now. Like,
I don't think Cena did this at any point.
I know, give it like a fucking break, really.
I think that's it.
Yeah, just and
actually, did Hogan do 4 in a row? He did WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2,
and 3.
WrestleMania
He did
3,
5,
not
6,
4.
7, and 8.
5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
And technically 9 as well.
I mean, so it's really,
That's-
but that's like 8 of the first 9. Fuck.
Yeah. And
Well, I'll ask you guys this question too. If we're talking about main events and stuff, agree or disagree? Based off of the way that things went down, the main event should have been AJ and Shinsuke instead.
Nope. The main event should have been Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
it sounds really stupid to say, but that
Yeah,
should have been the main event.
But that's just Captain Hindsight coming in and just
Nope, because they were building Ronda as the biggest thing anyway.
Actually,
They-
all the fucking now you say that all the fucking commercials, all the big ones were for WrestleMania dealt with her. So
they
never
could've
mind.
easily
You're
done
right.
it.
I don't
They-
know,
oh,
guys.
Hmm.
I think Nicholas should have main evented.
Like Nicholas could have. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could have easily done the SmackDown's Women's Championship as the main event as well.
No.
And I know. Oh, yes, I think you could have. This year, okay, they did the Women's Royal Rumble as the main event. They easily could have done this match as that match as the main event of WrestleMania. And you could hate on that. That's fine, but just with how culture's going and the way society is now, if they did that, I would have been fine with that. If Asuka and Charlotte main evented, even with the 13-minute match they did tonight, I would have been fine with that. It was a better match than the main event we did have. So I mean, that was okay. So yeah.
Well, tonight we're going to get the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania.
And I know it's late, Tony, and I'm gonna keep it quick, but here's the issue when it comes to Brock and Roman and a lot of the things that plague WWE's main roster. They make the current full-time guys look so shitty in comparison to anyone with name value from the era gone by. They always have to make Taker look like a legitimate badass. They always have to make Brock look like this unstoppable force to the point where the only guy that could beat him was the unstoppable force from 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Eventually, you have to start treating the people that are there 365 days a year like a big deal, or people will not think they need to tune into Raw, SmackDown, or any of the other 13 pay-per-views that you have throughout the year.
Yeah, it is kind of stupid that Roman complained about how he was a part-timer and how he gets special treatment, and then he still gets his ass fucking kicked anyways. It's kind of fucking stupid.
Oh, if we're going to talk about like the Raw after WrestleMania, what do you think the chances are of Brock dropping the title?
I think
Oh,
they're
that's-
very high.
That's what I was going to say. What is the thing, not even specifying necessarily about Brock, what is something that you're dreading, and what is something that you're looking forward to that you would love to see maybe correct some mistakes or something like that when it comes to WrestleMania? You got to pick like a possible like major highlight and major low point of what we could see tomorrow. And for that matter, Tuesday SmackDown too. I mean, they're basically the same kind of thing.
In terms of a high point, I don't want to say Lesnar losing the title, because unlike most people here, I don't really mind that Lesnar's a part-time champion. I think if you can do good enough storytelling, you don't need your champion in every single show. But I go along the lines of the high point would probably be you keep the title on Rollins, because there's always a tendency, like the Intercontinental Championship in particular, or the mid-card championships, that they won one night and then lost the next one. And then my low point would be that you have Nicholas pin one of an actual tag team, because you might as well then just fire that tag team outright, because they're not worth anything at that point.
My lowest point would be they're going to overhype the night to such an extent where the biggest high we might get would be the debut of the Authors of Pain, and they'll tout it like the biggest Raw ever. And my absolutely optimistic high point is Brock Lesnar loses the title. I don't know to who, but I think that Brock Lesnar isn't sticking around and that they're going to just drag it out for one more night just for the sake of saying, hey, look what happened on the crazy Raw after Mania.
Well, my low point is for every Raw after Mania is always the fucking still frame shots that they do because they never show videos of WrestleMania after
yeah.
WrestleMania. So, and then I have to watch everything again, and I have to listen to the crowd cheer or boo, and I'm just like, oh, I don't give a shit about any of this. And this happens like 6 times throughout the night. But if I want to actually pick something that matters for a low point, it's probably just going to be whatever they do with Rusev, to be honest with you, because it kind of sucks that he ate the pin. Rusev Day is awesome. And, you know, he's definitely a contender for someone who might not be there sometime and at the end of the year. So that sucks. But for Monday, I just really fucking hope that Reigns, doesn't do something that he just gets completely booed and looks like an idiot or just stupid, because he kind of looks stupid if you think about it after tonight and after everything he said leading up to the match. So as long as they just do something with him that's just to kind of rectify whatever the fuck happened tonight, then I guess it's okay.
Braden, what about you?
Okay, my high point would be a Reigns heel turn, have him finally kind of maybe go off on the crowd, maybe blame them for his losses or whatever. Just do something with him that's different rather than him just come out and pretend like his ass kicking never took place and just do the whole babyface shtick some more. The low point for me, I think, would have to just be the length of the show. I mean, after all the amount of wrestling that's already been gone on, another 3 hours of Raw, it can get kind of grating. And I wonder how long they're going to keep that 3-hour format for. It's been years since they started it, but my gosh, it just seems like such a long show when you really think about it, like really long. So
I gotta kind of agree. I think that the high point, or the low point, I should say, not high point. If they go with just Roman Reigns comes out and he goes, "Hey guys, I know I didn't do the job, but I'm going to try to fight and earn your respect and whatever." And if they book a scenario where we're supposed to go, "Thank you, Roman," and whatever, they're delusional. And that proves that well over a year of time after several years worth of this whole scenario, they're just not going to understand. And tomorrow night, if Monday Night Raw goes down and you're supposed to cheer Roman Reigns and it's supposed to be this idea of, well, what do you mean that we didn't earn the respect? We had him lose, and doesn't that prove that we don't have Roman Reigns win all the things? And like that, if they do something like that, it's really going to sour me on a lot of things. But it's also going to sour me if they do anything like, wouldn't it be interesting if WrestleMania went down and then we had like 3 title changes the next night or something like that? I don't like that retcon type of stuff. If we're going to go a high point, the only thing I can think of that maybe they do something like that is that scenario I brought up about Braun Strowman. Like, maybe they twist this whole Braun Strowman thing and Brock Lesnar, and they do that, and they put the title on Strowman, because really, who else is going to beat Strowman? And are we going to just keep... who else is going to beat Lesnar, I mean? Are we really just going to keep this belt on Lesnar for another year? He's going to hold the title for 2 years straight? I don't want to see that garbage. He has nobody really right now. If Lesnar were to drop the title tomorrow night to like a Braun Strowman, or I don't even know who necessarily else, but I don't know if I really want to see any Brock Lesnar matches anymore. I don't want to see German suplex, German suplex, German suplex F5. I don't care if it's against Strowman, actually. Or if it's another Reigns match, or if it's Bobby Lashley, or if it's John Cena, or The Undertaker, or anybody. I really don't want to watch a Brock Lesnar match anymore.
To be honest, I don't want to see Strowman versus Lesnar. We saw that like 4 times, I feel like, in the past 2 years.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't want to see that either. If they did it tomorrow, and they just ended it, and Brock Lesnar loses the title, and he goes away, and he doesn't pop up for another year,
that's fine.
Then I'll be like, all right, well, they should have just put the belt on Strowman anyway, and they should have known this ahead of time.
No,
like there's no situation I can think of to leave tomorrow night where I don't feel like they didn't plan things out well enough.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna think if Lesnar loses the title tomorrow night, I'm just gonna be like, why the fuck did he not lose it at WrestleMania? That's all. I don't know.
This is gonna be a weird, like, we're not gonna be able to judge WrestleMania until at least after Backlash. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Well,
And
isn't a lot of WrestleManias you need time to really dissect? I mean, WrestleMania has only been over for about 3.5 hours now, so I think it's with most wrestling shows, especially big ones, where we have to watch like 7 hours straight. It takes a lot to dissect, and I think we need to it takes time to go back and really look at how this WrestleMania is going to stand compared to the rest of them, because we're going to look at it way differently than what we will in a year from now, anyways. So.
But what was that thing that you said in 15 minutes we'll look back on?
Did I say 15 minutes?
What was that thing earlier in the night? Can't remember.
Oh, wait, 15 minutes instead of like days or something like that? I don't know. Yeah, well,
it was the Women's Battle Royal.
Oh yeah, the Women's Battle Royal.
Okay, yeah. So what do you think about the Women's Battle Royal?
Don't hate it.
That'll be our finale for this. Now that we've had an extra 2 hours to think about it.
Bailey should have won.
I still like Naomi beating Bailey.
Oh yeah, I feel,
still a contender for worst match of the year for me.
Really? Still that bad?
Yeah, it's still that bad.
You know, I will say it doesn't bother me that Naomi won, but I'm actually annoyed that we have to watch this. Oh my god, this Bailey Sasha Banks. They're gonna pretend that everything's fine after tonight, but really they're not, and they're slowly gonna become like Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, and then their kids are gonna get involved, and it's gonna get really fucking weird.
And one of them is going to say that they're actually the new mother of the other kid, and it's going to be a Dominic situation.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a ladder match with a fucking contract involved. And there might be
And by that time, when they have kids and the kids have grown up to be able to do that, then Nicholas is going to be like a 30-time champion.
All right, it's 3:30. Pull the plug on the podcast.
Yeah, no, well, hold on. I'm almost done. Yeah, then like... And then one of them dies afterward, like Eddie. So, you know, it doesn't last for too long, but you're like, man, now we got to respect the shit out of them afterwards and act like that they're like some god. I'm just kidding. Eddie Guerrero is one of the best ever.
I'm glad
Alrighty,
you
well,
out a little bit longer. Really worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Well, obviously, we've talked a lot about WrestleMania, and as I mentioned before, we're not going to be able to fully judge everything until afterwards, so when the next time you guys hear from us, our opinions might have changed, and maybe after Monday Night Raw and after SmackDown, we're going to look back and go, that makes a lot more sense. Or, you know, later on this week, when we do like the hot tags and we do the main event, which I'll tell you about in a minute, maybe we're going to look back and go, and it really pisses me off that this fucking, you know, like, it could be one of those things, but those are our opinions as far as before the dust is fully settled on this. Make sure you drop your comments below and tell us what you think about all this kind of stuff from WrestleMania. Whether you agree, whether you disagree, for any of those points, just tell us what you think. I just mentioned ago that we have other stuff coming up your way, but there's too many goddamn things to talk about and stuff, so hot tags usually come on Monday nights. Not happening tomorrow night. I need a fucking break. Probably Wednesday is when that's going to happen, and if that's the case on Wednesday, the main event for next week is probably going to be Wednesday as well. That is going to be the recap of the Smark Madness tournament, because that is going to be ending in the next few days. We're on the finals right now. The finals, if you are unaware, what's the best gimmick match of all time? Is it the ladder match, or is it Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles? Those are the two you guys have in the finals, so vote while you can. Those polls are going to be shutting off sometime on Wednesday. We're going to recap the whole tournament from top to bottom and talk about what we thought were interesting stats and get Dana Brooke in the mix and probably beat her down, I guess.
Shame on anyone who didn't vote for the Belfast Brawl.
And those things are going to be coming your way whenever you're coming your way. And the way that you should be aware of when we post those is to, on YouTube at the very least, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. But if you're listening on iTunes and Stitcher, you can also figure things out by following the Facebook and Twitter accounts at SmarkOutMoment. And you can subscribe to the RSS feed on smarkoutmoment.com too. Plenty of articles that you should read out of everybody's been writing different things, including myself. And man, I still have 2 or 3 more things I have to write up and stuff, including predictions for next year's WrestleMania. Yeah, I have to start that ahead of time too.
That's disgusting, dude.
I need a break.
I gotta go to bed. I gotta wake up in like 3 hours, so I don't even want to fucking know about your writing shit, because that doesn't sound like it's fun at all.
It isn't. But the last thing to do here is to go around the horn and not tell everybody else what to say. Hey, you fucking say this. Give everybody else a chance to plug anything else that they want to plug. Drew, why don't you go first?
Yeah, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at White. It's like that on Instagram as well. I do have a project that I don't want to talk about too much that I'm working on with someone right now, but eventually, if I ever do shows and I actually finish this project with my friend, I will discuss it and share it. And I'm excited for it whenever it gets done. So yeah, thumbs up.
Braden?
You can just follow me on Twitter. That's at Spoodbeast, SPOODBEEST. Hope to see some more wrestling fans follow me. That'd be nice.
Nah.
Robert?
Dude Felice
Actually, I will,
everywhere. That's it. Yeah, I'm tired.
Cal?
That's Twitter at Wigmeister14. And just check all the articles on Smark at the moment. Because I'm tired. And I want to go to bed.
I'm so envious of everybody. Everybody else gets to go to bed.
You didn't choose your life. We didn't choose our lives. You chose yours.
No, I didn't. I was thrust in this role. That was something. All right, that's good of a way to end as anything else, I guess. Thank you for listening to this podcast, everybody. As always, we will see you when we see you. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.